FufuCuddilyPoof commits tax evasion.
Subscribe to Kenny's OnlyFans.
Don't ask him about what the DLC package
do you
is.
need a 1099 for that? If you have an OnlyFans.
Oh man.
You okay?
Man, the funny part is I was just talking about selling myself for stuff earlier today.
You're like, I took off my eyebrows. Let's see what I take off next.
Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101, the podcast that is never a weekly.
Never.
This is level 195. Joining me tonight is Matrarch.
Hello, everybody.
Vulgar Latin.
I'm not KooshMoose.
No, you're not. And Big Ell.
Wait a minute. Does that make me the oldest one here?
Doesn't that? Aren't you always the oldest one?
No.
Nate's 72.
Whenever he's in a room, depending on the room, he's the oldest person in the room.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
In his home, he is routinely the oldest person there.
I'm the oldest person in my apartment at almost all times.
That's like the saying where everything in the universe is either a potato or not a potato.
Well, we're all feeling very not potato-y at the moment, I imagine.
I don't know.
Nope.
I have eyes.
Oh, clever.
Oh God, that was bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
We're getting right into our topic
Wow.
of discussion this week. That was awful.
My eyes are leaking from that joke.
Ugh, gosh. Hey, what's our topic
That's
of discussion
terrible.
for this week, Kenny?
Achievements.
God, the topic of discussion that's going on right now in my head is I wish I would have prepared some opening discussion question better than just potatoes. But this one was submitted from X this week.
Ooh.
He's
X
been
the
playing
hero?
Immortals Phoenix Rising, and he's been dived into the DLC, and that inspired this question, which is, what are your preferences for DLC? Do you want more of the same, new location, but otherwise the same, slightly tweaked mechanics, focus on a single part of the main game's gameplay? Just what's your thoughts on DLC? And then you also added an additional question of what are some of your favorite and or least favorite DLCs based on your answer? All right, so for DLC, when I read that last part, some of your favorite and least favorite DLCs, I immediately had an answer for both of them. Now, I'm going to do the least favorite DLC, in my opinion. And I think you would be hard-pressed to find anyone that disagrees with what I'm about to say, especially for achievement hunters, and that is the Mad Moxie DLC.
Yeah, that's what you stole my answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, what people can't see who are listening, as this is an audio podcast, is everyone on the panel vigorously nodding their heads as Kenny doesn't even say the name yet because we all know what he's about to say.
It is.
Well, tell us what game is
remarkable.
it and from and
Okay, so
my favorite
series.
series.
If you don't know what it is, the Mad Moxie Underdome Riot is its full name, and Gearbox.
Yep.
Is that the developer?
Mhm.
Yeah, Gearbox. Wow, it's been forever since I saw that or thought about that. Gearbox had the audacity to charge $10 for this piece of crap DLC for the first Borderlands game. Now, what it is essentially just an arena mode that has hordes of enemies that come at you. There's 5 achievements in this DLC. The first achievement that you'll unlock is for completing all 3 of the arenas on the smaller challenge. Now, on the smaller challenge, there's 5 waves, or 5 rounds, 5 rounds, and each round has 5 waves. You have 4 rounds of whatever assortment of enemies, and then the 5th round is a boss. You do that on all 3 arenas, you get an achievement. Then the other 4 the other 4 achievements are for doing the exact same thing on the same level, but on the bigger challenge, which is now they're 20 rounders instead of 5. And then the last, you get 1 for doing it on each arena, and then the last achievement is for doing it on all 3. It's awful. It's so mind-numbingly bad. waves really don't vary that much. The gameplay really doesn't vary that much. It doesn't matter how good you are and how fast you can kill the enemies because they still take time to spawn. Like, the smaller challenges are, half hour or so it's going to take you. The bigger challenges are literally like 2 to 3 hours each. So if you actually plan on doing this, it's like, make sure you have a group of friends to do this with that you enjoy, because you're going to be there for a while. Like, the time estimate on TA says 10 to 12 hours, which, yeah, that's about it. You can't speed it up. It is amazing that this was ever a DLC. There's no point to it other than getting 125 gamer score. It adds no value to the game. It adds no good rewards to the game. It's just pointless. It's just there to artificially increase the time that you're going to put into the game. There's no point in doing it.
You get 1 skill point, and you get to listen to Moxie. Who loves you, and who do you love?
God, I forgot about that. It's
I think it's her, because she's asked about 175,000 times. Because I think they forgot that this was going to take a while, and they didn't record as many voice lines for Moxie, so you get really sick of it. The thing I will say, if you want to do Mad Moxie, is cheat. I cheated. I did it twice.
100%.
And just cheat. Use modded weapons. It goes way faster. You're not missing anything. Just get out of there, man. It's the worst DLC of all time.
Yeah, it's like it really is just amazing that they're like, yeah, let's charge $10 for this. There was no thought that went into this. It was just a money grab. And, it's an achievement. It's just an achievement hunter, like, worst nightmare. It's just nothing. It's an absolute nothing of a DLC.
Especially when you compare it to, like, Gears 2. And because that's the Horde modes of the time. Because Horde modes were the vogue. And even then, it was a bad Horde mode.
Oh, it's a terrible Horde mode. Now, on the flip side, my favorite...
Wait a minute. I need to talk about this crappy DLC.
Okay, well, you weren't saying anything, so go ahead.
I'm trying, but Devin's here, so now I got to, edge my way in here. So, this DLC sucks. Devin Specht, why in the blue hell would you put yourself through this twice?
There's a remaster.
This is... I know, and I'm pretty sure there's people that... the Japanese one did it 3 times. What is wrong with people?
Hey, you got to get that series completion, man.
You forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure enemies would get stuck, and you would have to try to find them, and it was just,
oh my god,
it was glitchy on top of everything.
That.
Yeah.
Was it just me?
Oh my god!
But
was it just me?
That's pain.
It was not just me.
You can glitch it, and we found that you can glitch rounds. It's like whole rounds instead of 20.
Wait, really?
Yeah, if you kill the boss before the curtains all the way open, it'll close the curtains and then it'll skip an entire round because it's coded poorly.
Really?
Yeah. And if you have modded weapons, it becomes fairly trivial. So it cuts it down to 10.
Wow.
So my second time through, I don't think it took me nearly as long. I think it took about 4 hours.
It's bad.
4 hours.
It's bad.
That's still terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm generally team no glitching through things. It's one thing if you're doing speed runs in Halo and people find how to, morph through a wall or whatever. That's cool. But in general gameplay, you're supposed to I think you should at least try the game the way it's intended.
I agree.
Moxie is the one, hands down, no, do not play it the way it's intended. Absolutely don't do that. Find a friend who can get you a god weapon and a god shield and make it as painless for yourself as possible. Because it was terribly thought out, it was terribly executed, and it just is not worth your time. I don't think, in all the time I've talked to people about Borderlands, I have found a single individual who even attempts to defend it, which tells you a lot because there are lots of Borderlands fans. Everyone acknowledges that it's bad. It is so bad. But it's bad to a point where it's almost like everybody has to experience it in some way, right? So that we can all talk about how bad it is. But I agree. If you have to experience it, please get the big weapons, get the big shields. find a couple other people to do it with and come to the table with like 4 hours worth of personality quizzes or something to do to pass the time. It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you are going to be sitting there for a long time. Make sure you're in a good Xbox Live party with friends that you can have fun with, because that's the only way that it's going to help pass the time.
Or if you're by yourself.
And don't do it late at night.
Use a podcast.
Don't do it late at night. Or do a podcast. Yeah.
I mean, not to turn this into the Borderlands podcast, but it's just a lazy DLC to add on to a lazy game. It's just awful.
It's a good game.
We're not going to go into a full discussion about.
It's the oobla da of DLCs.
Well, to get more into what X is asking, it's different from the main game, and do we prefer something a little more like the main game, or do we like it to veer off the beaten path? And
I think that's to Devin's point before, that this game mode was the game mode du jour at the time. That's just
Horde. Right.
Every game had some type of Horde mode. It was just expected at that point. And so Gearbox went ahead and developed a Horde mode, and that's fine, except it was terrible. They didn't learn any lessons from playing any of the other ones with other people about how to make them engaging. And that's the worst sin of Mad Moxie, is it is not engaging. It's boring.
Well, you know what's worse than that? Maybe even worse? I think it's that Claptrap's New Robot Revolution, where people would leave their Xboxes on overnight just to like gather stuff.
That's different.
That's the achievements being
different.
bad, but not the DLC being bad.
Right.
I didn't play that one.
The DLC itself is fine, but what you're talking about is that last achievement.
Well, we
to
are an
collect X
achievement
number of
podcast,
collectibles.
and we wouldn't be doing that if not for the achievements. So therefore, it is important.
Yeah, but I wouldn't pin the whole DLC's rating on that, I guess.
Okay, to be fair, nobody's going to play the large arenas in Moxie if not for achievements, right? So I guess you
100%.
can take that argument that way, but there was no other redeeming quality to the Mad Moxie DLC. It was just a poorly executed, boring Horde mode. The Claptrap DLC itself is fine. The story elements that they added, if you like the gameplay, it was more of the gameplay. The DLC itself was fine. That was just a bad achievement at the end of what otherwise was an okay DLC.
Yeah. The achievements and the gameplay in Mad Moxie are bad. The Claptrap Revolution, the gameplay is... I mean, if you like the gameplay and you like the story, then I'm sure you would like that. Like I said, I haven't played through all of that DLC, so I don't know. I can't really speak to that. But it's more Borderlands. If you like Borderlands...
Rush to play it after
then that's
a decade?
Fine.
Well, and actually,
I played it a little bit. I never finished it.
Like, to be fair to Ell, do you have any sense or takeaway of the rest of the DLC, or is that really all you recall is just that portion of trying to get that achievement? Okay.
I really don't remember them.
I mean,
I remember the Borderlands 2
DLC,
DLCs, but not the one, not the first one. As much.
Borderlands, the series does have good DLC. The Tiny Tina DLC in Borderlands 2, amazing. The General Knox DLC in the first Borderlands, I thought was very good. I really enjoyed it.
I like the Zombie Ned DLC.
Yeah, also
that's
good.
another one with achievements where you have to collect like all the brains for the last quest in that, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Yeah, something like that.
It was nowhere nearly as bad as the other one, but that was a slog at the end for sure. But I enjoyed that DLC otherwise too.
Yeah, so it's not like Gearbox doesn't know how to do good DLC. It's just Mad Moxie was so clearly a cash grab, and it's just awful in all ways.
All right, Kenny.
Well,
was that the one you were going to hit us with for the DLC that you liked?
No, the one that I do
hit
like.
Us. We're ready. We're waiting.
Now, going back to like X originally asked is, do you want more of the same? And for my answer, and like I said, this may be a little bit of a cop-out, but I think Rock Band does DLC the best.
that was going to be my answer.
Interesting.
It's DLC. I know it's a little bit different than your normal DLC from like a Skyrim or a Witcher or what have you, but it's still DLC, and it's the kind of thing where all the songs are $1 or $2. I forget what it is, and you could just go through and say, "Oh, look, there's my new favorite band's song is on here. Oh, let me buy that. Let me buy this song that I don't necessarily like, but because I play this game as a party, I know other people will enjoy this, and just let you add on to the game. And I mean, Rock Band probably has taken more of my money than any game out there, because it's, oh, $2 for that song? Sure, I can swing that. A couple days later, yeah, I could swing that. Yeah, I could swing that. Next thing you know, you got 1,000 songs in your library.
Yeah, I don't want to trample all over like your answer because I picked the same one. So I'll hit some other elements when I get there. But it's really, I agree. In my opinion, it's the perfect DLC. It increases the gameplay. It allows you to play in different ways because it includes different charts and notations and things like that. All of the DLC is applicable to the base achievement list. So you can get brand new DLC that makes an in-game achievement easier than it was before, which is very atypical of DLC that comes out. The price was reasonable. You were not obligated to buy any because you can complete the entire game without a single piece of that DLC. So I that was exactly my thought. And I agree, it may be a cop-out answer because this isn't what we're really talking about when we talk about DLC, right? Rock Band DLC is more akin to buying horse armor in Elder Scrolls, right? Where it's not necessary to do because there are no extra achievements attached. But it expands the game in the best possible way in that it increases your gameplay time, it allows you to continue to engage with the product, and it can help make the base list easier than it was in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And as an added bonus, I think Rock Band did it better than Guitar Hero because Guitar Hero was constantly pumping out new games, like 2 a year, whereas Rock Band was like 1 every couple of years. Mm-hmm. So to get more songs, you didn't have to go spend another $60 on, the game. And then some of my DLC is here, some of my DLC is here, and you have to constantly switch games in and out to play the songs you want to play. Rock Band is just Rock Band. The songs that you bought on 3 carried over to 4, and all of your music was just in one it was in one spot.
Yeah, unless it was Green Day. But yeah, even then you could import them over. So most of them.
To their credit, also to Harmonix's credit, music licensing is a bear. It is very difficult to work with. Elle can attest to, as a wrestling fan, how often you watch wrestling from bygone eras and the themes are replaced with terrible dollar store versions of themes because music licensing is very complicated. Very few songs in the Rock Band library wound up out of the Rock Band library. You could still access them and things of that nature. So it's smartly done. And so it deserves props, in my opinion, given the context of our discussion today.
Yep. Only the songs that were in the Rock Band network were lost, which...
Yes.
I spent a lot of my money, and I did lose quite a few songs on that.
And be honest, once you got some DLC, did you ever play the base game songs again?
Well,
yes.
A few? Not a lot. I guess it depends.
Rock Band 2 and 3, yes. Oof. Rock Band 1, it took a long time to go back to playing some of that base DLC. Or that base songs, excuse me.
I also don't remember the list off the top of my head. It's been a while.
Well, I think Michelle and I were early adopters, so we played Rock Band 1 base games to death, and then 3 new songs would come out. You play those along with the base game, and then you're still playing the base game along with the DLCs, and then you eventually get sick of the base game songs.
Well, and for those who don't recall, and Devin, I'm not sure if you were also an early adopter of Rock Band, but in the first Rock Band, the set list had very little customizability. So you would wind up with a set list that was Creep and Buddy Holly and the Stone Temple Pilots song or whatever slips my mind. But you'd wind up replaying that a lot because it was shorter and
Vaseline,
whatever else.
And Say It Ain't So.
and oh, right. So you would wind up playing those same songs over and over again because you really didn't have a choice. The 53 song set list or whatever it was, those 50, there might have been 40 different tour stops, and those 53 songs made up all of those tour stops. And at a point where even when you got DLC in the original Rock Band, the campaign mode didn't adjust to include them. There wasn't as much ability to select stuff. And the user interface in the first Rock Band wasn't streamlined. So as you got DLC, you still had to scroll through large lists. But by Rock Band 2, they worked all that out, and it was completely fine.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into a patron answer. this first one is from Wild West. He says, I think it depends on the game and what direction they go. Expanding on the universal game works well for BioShock, Assassin's Creed, and Borderlands. Other ones like Far Cry and Ghost Recon feel tacked on and cheap. I prefer the first option at a reasonable price. And that I can agree. I think games that have the open world environments like in Assassin's Creed do well for DLC because you can kind of have that same gameplay, but just in a different territory. And especially for a game like an Assassin's Creed, where the gameplay is actually really, really good and it's a lot of fun in and of itself, you always want more of it. Or at least I do anyway. And another patron question or answer will go from Erotorek. And he says, yeah, close enough. I'm not gonna get his right name right. He knows that. In a single player game, he wants either 1, an expansion to a story or a similar single player experience, or 2, more content in line with what the original game provides if the game doesn't really have a story, like Forza Horizon. Or 3, whilst not my favorite thing, a challenge mode based in the levels of the base game, like Rise of the Tomb Raider. He also doesn't want a horde mode or battle royale stuff. And then if it's a multiplayer game, just extra maps, which I agree with that. Multiplayer games like Halo or Call of Duty, I bought every single DLC when it had a couple more maps. I was always up for that. And that's something very simple to help expand on the gameplay and not make it feel old or stale. Looking at you, Halo Infinite.
Any more of that, they don't sell you those maps. You just get them for free. You have to buy all the other stuff, skins, man, and your box of loot.
Yeah, and skins are the new money bag. All right, how about you, Michelle?
All right. Do you want me to talk over the sirens in the background, or we'll wait this out for a second?
Yeah, give it a sec. And then go ahead and say your least favorite if you have that, or whatever, anything else, and then you can go ahead and read patron options or whatever.
Okay, so since my Kenny cheated off of my homework and my stuff was already basically said, I'm not gonna. No, that's totally cool because there are so many great patron answers. I'd rather spend more time focusing on them now that we've had such a good discussion amongst us. But I also just wanted to highlight, and this was the point I was going to make before, but I didn't want to steal your total answer turn. Good DLC is also dependent on the genre of the game. So in a puzzle game, for example, something like Tumblestone, when they add or Round Guard actually is another one. When they add a DLC that brings a different game mode or a different style of play, that's refreshing in a puzzle game. And I enjoy seeing that. I'm not saying this is a DLC that happened, but like if you take a Batman Arkham Asylum and you add a drag racing DLC, I really don't want that. It might be fun.
I agree.
Batman better win.
Want that. So DLC is dependent on genre to some degree. Stating again briefly, I do agree worst DLC is Mad Moxie for all the reasons we've already listed. Best DLC for me is also Rock Band. I also I enjoy new maps in multiplayer games. I always have a fondness for. And like I enjoyed things like the extra Alan Wake content because I really enjoyed the ambiance of Alan Wake, but I know that's not for everybody. So with all that said, let me go ahead and just read a couple more patron responses. First up, Beast, who shares with us, I think the core gameplay should stay the same. A change in location isn't necessary, but I do appreciate different visuals. I think DLC should at least feature a new mechanic to the game. Syndicate's Jack the Ripper DLC was a great example. This is subjective to each individual person, but I'm not a fan of focusing on the one thing I liked least about a game. While I enjoyed the vaults in Immortal Phoenix Rising, I didn't like them near enough to have fun in a DLC dedicated to that and only that. And that's sometimes risky. A game will have a segment of it that picks up steam and people really enjoy, and they'll release a DLC that really features that. I think there's some of that in like Saints Row, where there's the Professor Genki stuff was like a full DLC, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Devin, I think you might
Oh,
know
yeah.
more than I would. Okay. So, and I think that that's great, but if you don't like it, that's a calculated risk that the developer is going to take, right? They're going to look at player interactions and impressions and whatnot and make a decision based on that. It won't work for everybody, but it's generally an idea that makes sense, right? Next, Echo says, there are exceptions, but DLC sucks. Tell us how you really feel. I want expansions to make a resurgence like Lord of Destruction, Brood War, Stormblood, Forsaken, etc. It might sound pedantic, but the scope and effort behind expansions are much more exciting and worth my time and money. For what it's worth, I'm doing all the Borderlands 1 DLC right now, and I hate every second of it. So, okay, we've spoken about Borderlands 1.
We're done. Borderlands
DLC.
is dead. It's a dead topic
Like we
right
said,
now.
it's awful.
I'm putting a moratorium on Mad
DLC.
Moxie. It's done.
And expansions are interesting. I feel like it's splitting hairs a bit, because an expansion is just a DLC, but it's got a very targeted premise, unless I'm misunderstanding Echo, and if I am, just say so in Discord. Do you guys have a different impression of that? Like, I think expansion is like Destiny, right? Had the Forsaken King expansion, which is really just like expanding the game universe, but it's DLC, right? It's extra content I had to pay for and download.
Well, I guess it's just there's some that they did expand on, and even then it was kind of hit or miss. Like with expansions, It's because I used to play a lot more of those PC games, and that was a big deal, was the expansions. And
I know that's a big deal in the Final Fantasy XIV universe. Like, every time one of the new expansions comes out for it, like, a lot of people, all the non-Xbox gamers I know, are super, super excited for them.
Some I think actually are, and they just don't call it that. But I'll get to that in a bit.
Okay, so I won't. Oh, go ahead, Kenny.
I was just looking it up real quick because I couldn't think of the expansion, but I like the Dawnguard expansion for Skyrim, where it added the vampire stuff and whatnot.
The werewolves.
So, and werewolves, yeah, where it added new quest lines. It added kind of the same thing where, there's more missions, more of Skyrim to explore, but then it also did add a new gameplay element where you could turn into a werewolf or you could turn into a vampire, and it added new abilities where you can just really get OP if you max out those traits.
Okay. I mean, I think some of this, when we're considering like expansions and what we want to see, just to come back around to Umblebee's point, like how variety is nice. The reason why these expansions work, I think, sometimes has to do with what assets a company's already developed. Like, to make something that looks completely different, that's going to take a lot of work because you're building from ground zero. Expansions are smart because they're using a pre-existing game world and like putting new elements within it. So you're continuing to expand and explore, if I understand correctly. And that cuts down on development time, hopefully cuts down on cost and all that stuff as well. But yeah, it's an interesting point to bring up, how expansions do differ from DLC and that approach to additional content in games. And then finally, I'm going to just read Chesno's response here. A good DLC expands on the base game and gives you a good and as good, if not better, experience. A good example is the Garden DLC for House Flipper, allowing you to spruce up existing houses and complete new missions based on the new features. A bad DLC for me is in-game currency for a full-priced game. If it's free to play, that's fine, since you got to make money. But if I pay for a game and I need more just to experience the game properly, that might have read that a little odd. But I agree with the point here that if you've already paid for a full-price game and now you have to buy virtual credits, right? I think this is common in the sports games where you need to buy credits to open things up. That's a pain because you've already paid $60 for the game, and that's how they usually get you to get the super duper edition, because you get a certain number of credits. I just wanted to say, in reading Chesno's answer out loud, I remembered another piece of good DLC I want to shout out before I pass this over to whoever's going next. Rain on Your Parade had excellent DLC. It expanded on the gameplay. It continued in the theme of the game without reinventing the wheel. It wasn't overly difficult. It didn't overstay its welcome. And I think that's also the core game didn't overstay its welcome. So playing them all together didn't feel so bad. I super enjoyed the Rain on Your Parade DLC. So while I remember, I just want to shout that out.
Yeah. Elle was just talking that up last week, I believe it was.
Yeah, right before it left Game Pass. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So with that, I guess, Elle, did you want to talk more about Rain on Your Parade or other DLC thoughts?
I was going to actually shout out Borderlands one more time for something that they did right. But I wasn't. Did you play the DLCs as they first came out, Em?
For the first Borderlands?
Yes.
Or, yeah, more or less. I don't think I played them completely right when they came out. But yeah, it wasn't like months after or whatever.
Well, here's what I miss. I miss the idea of a season pass. So the one
controversial take.
The one that comes to mind is Gears of War 3. So we played this as it was new. So we paid full price for the game. We paid full price for the season pass, whatever it was, $14, or $14.99 or $19.99 or $30, whatever it was. And what Gears 3 did is they came out with map packs. And they came out with Horde, and they came out with Beast Mode, and they came out with a little campaign segment where you play as the bad guys. So it came out with a little bit of everything. Yeah. General Ram. And
so good.
They were all 4-player. And I think Horde and Beast were 5 players.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Gears 3 is the last good Gears game, by the way.
It is not.
That's probably...
I don't know.
I'll dispute that too.
I'm
the last
Gears 5,
really good one.
It wasn't.
Okay. I would love to debate that with you guys. I just remember laughing.
DLC, now we can get
I just remember laughing throughout the whole thing and crying and feeling emotion and having fun with 4 players, and then they made it 2 players and then 3 players, which makes me dislike it.
Gears 4 was
just
2 players?
Yeah. Gears 4 was 2 players, yes. You get surprised at this every time.
But Judge
I played them all by myself. I've never played one in co-op. I didn't know that. That is so stupid.
That makes it worse to me. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Gears 3, I remember my group, and we would be quiet during cutscenes, and we would come back, and you would hear tears, and you would hear laughter, and it was a good time. That's what I remember. And in Horde, in Beast, you could play legit. You could boost a little here and there. It was just Gears boosting was a good time.
So I'm a little confused. What do you mean you missed the idea of a season pass? Don't they still have those?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't understand what it is exactly that you
would pay ahead of time,
or what you're trying to say.
You would pay for the season pass ahead of time.
Of a season pass as well.
And then every couple months you would have a new DLC that they had ready. That they had an idea for.
I think it's more that we just don't play AAA games as they're new. So by the time we're ready to invest in something like a season pass, it's no longer really considered a season. Like, I don't think that's the name they really use for it anymore. It's like Forza sort of has a season pass type deal. You're going to get 2 or 3 additional pieces of content. Oh, and can we say as an aside, Forza Horizon has some amazing DLC as well. The Lego expansion, the Eliminator stuff, like different ways to play the game, different vistas, like really wonderful things. But it exists. It's just not the same. And I get what you're saying. Like, anticipation is fun, right? For folks who played Telltale games as they were coming out, right? That idea that it's like you had to wait a month or however long it was until episode 2 came out. And you don't know how that's going to resolve. There is something exciting and engaging about that. So I think, is that kind of the point you were making with regard to missing the idea. Season? That idea? Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay. I was going to say, there's been plenty of season passes I know I've bought.
Yeah.
For that same reason, because, I assume Halo's had one or something like that, where it's like, I know I'm going to buy all this, so I might as well just buy the season pass and save a couple of bucks. I know Tomb Raider has had that.
Halos were just map packs, from what I recall, and just...
I think the Battlefields have that. The Call of Duties have something. It's just these are not games.
Call of Duty
Tiny Tina had one I bought.
Right. Yeah, it's just these aren't games you're really playing at this time, so it doesn't feel like they're there, but they're there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Ruturek had said what? No horde mode or battle royale bollocks. But I guess Eliminator is one that we're okay with.
It's just so different.
Eliminators just changed they took something that's so popular and they made it work in the confines of the game that made it didn't feel like they forced it. It felt like a natural peanut butter in my chocolates kind of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Let's also be honest, like the Forza Horizon series is firing on all cylinders, pun intended. They could probably make the Mad Moxie DLC and it would still be good. They're incredible. 4 is an incredible game. 5 is an incredible game. They no matter what they do, it's probably going to be good. They just know what they're doing.
You know what they haven't done is a DLC expansion based on Playground games, and I think there's a reason for that. I think the Playground games aren't bad, but I think they're a lower played mode, and there's a reason for that. And they listen or at least pay attention to player habits and aren't encouraging more of that necessarily. Because I think that's as close as you're going to get to a Moxie-style gameplay in the confines of Forza Horizon.
I think my favorite part of the Forza Horizon games is that the DLC is always like a sneak peek to what they're working on in the next game.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you know, like if you, from the point of hindsight, you can look at 5 and go, they took the Lego side things, the accolades. They took that, they used that from the Lego and they added that into 5. They were working on that. Weather from like Storm Mountain, they added that. Like Seasons, they had a Blizzard Mountain in 3 so that they could work on adding all, like, it seems like while they're developing another one, they're taking key aspects and they're adding it to kind of test the water and work on it simultaneously with their new game. And that's really neat.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right. Devin, what's your take?
I'm going to pick because some of these were really great and I would have taken them for my favorites. So I'm going to pick Witcher 3's Blood and Wine DLC, which
I hear a lot of good stuff about that.
If you've never played Blood and Wine, is a masterpiece of, it takes everything that The Witcher was doing, adds more of The Witcher in a unique fairy tale kind of land, and like just raises the level cap. Doesn't really change anything with the core of The Witcher, but it gives you more story and more story beats to go with. In fact, it's so good. Hearts of Stone, the other DLC for the Witcher 3, is really good, but it looks worse in comparison to Blood and Wine. It's just that good. It's honestly, when I was hearing Echo, that like Blood and Wine could have been sold on its own as an expansion. Like that was
what I hear.
That is a full game that you could easily do it. And like, I think it won like some Game of the Years just as a DLC on its own.
That in and of itself speaks volumes about how good it is.
Yeah. It just adds new monsters, adds some more spells, but it doesn't change anything about what The Witcher does. It's still more of The Witcher. And they just added in a full force story, and it wraps up all of the story beats in a nice little bow. And the depth is still there from CD Projekt Red before the internet grabbed their torches and pitchforks.
And never put them down.
No, it's a Reddit love is fickle. And,
yeah, another podcast I listen to, they mention The Witcher 3 often when they talk about like their favorite games or whatever. And they mention that the Blood and Wine is just as good, if not better, than the base game itself.
It is. It fully is. And I get to go and be a degenerate, card-addicted gambler with a monster hunting side job. And that's what I think I like the most. I get to go play more Gwent. I love Gwent. And, hunt more monsters. And, it's a full campaign, too. Like, it took me some time to finish all of Blood and Wine.
A true expansion. Not just a DLC, it's an expansion.
And I did pretty much everything. And I think it took me, I want to say 20 to 30 hours to get to the end. This was before I met y'all. And you ruined me.
We ruined your life.
Yeah, ruined. And then I was never able to go back. And yeah, I think, the worst DLC is still Mad Moxie. I don't think we need to beat that horse. She died a long time ago. But other bad DLCs are just going to be cash-in kind of DLCs, or ones that I played Operation Tango. Had a title update, so it was free DLC, is what they call it. But it was just one room with a bunch of challenge maps, and it just felt kind of forced. And I really just wanted more full out missions instead of like a training room. But that was just my own sort of thing on it. But let's see what the patrons thought. Chewy on Ice said, I like DLC to be something creative that adds to the core experience. More of the same is okay, extending the story, etc. But I prefer it to be something a little different, a twist on the main game. The Pigsy DLC in Enslaved is a great example. So is Undead Nightmare in Red Dead Redemption. I'm not a fan of things that add challenges where none existed in the base, trial maps in Bioshock 2/Infinite especially, if they lean into an area that wasn't great to begin with, such as combat, multiplayer, etc. Though maybe that's mostly because I suck, and that means I'll never be able to complete those games.
I've heard nothing but good things about that Pigsy's Perfect 10 DLC. I have not played it, but everyone raves about it.
It is one I need to check out. And yeah, as far as like going into stuff that you didn't like in the main game, for me, it's Fallout 4 with base building. Hated that. Never liked building a base.
See, that sounds so up my alley, but I've never played Fallout.
Like Brutal Legend.
Significantly.
No, it's kind of
RTS.
like if you were in charge of a bunch of toddlers and that needed your attention at all times, and you had to build shanties. But that's neither here nor there. Retro Chief.
That sounds like my life as is.
You build shanties? Like favelas?
Well, minus the shanty part.
Retro Chief says, pretty much concur with Adaritrek. That's a full name, sorry. Though number 3 can do away also, which I'd have to refer back to number 3.
That was the Battle Royale
okay.
modes.
I want to expand on what I have in general. I'm buying DLC based on liking what was already on offer. I think Sunset Overdrive and Forza do a good job of expanding the base in a similar way to the original. Yeah.
I don't remember the Sunset DLC.
That gave you more of those, now I can't remember what they're called. They're the team-based game modes where you had to go through and accomplish certain tasks and hit certain point targets. And what were they called?
There
were
Chaos
some...
Squad.
Yes, and then there were also a couple of story
Just more of everything from what I remember.
But yeah, it basically expanded the game world. Like, I know one of the achievements that was added was the finding the 12 drawings from the one guy's kid, I want to say. That they are exactly what Retro Chief is saying he enjoys. They are an expansion of the game world. So if you liked Sunset Overdrive, it's more of Sunset Overdrive, and it's great. If you didn't like Sunset Overdrive, you wouldn't be inclined to get the DLC anyway, and you wouldn't miss anything.
All right. I'm going to take over the patron reading. Thank you so much for everyone for writing in. There's a lot more. Bear with us. Logic Slayer said, I generally want more of the same. Expand on the existing lore or add new lore. I'd rather not have any more DLC like Immortals Phoenix Rising or Dante's Inferno. I appreciated a good deal of the DLC from the Assassin's Creed series. Now, I was messing with him and I asked him, what, you don't like Immortals Phoenix Rising or Dante's Inferno because they're hard? But what I assume what he means by those is that they are just so different from the main game. I've heard nothing but crazy things about the Dante's Inferno trials.
Dante's Inferno tiles are just tacked on, and it lacks all the creativity that I think I liked the most about the main game. Because a lot of the creativity of the world, of hell, and all the different levels, and then to just be like, here's just some enemies. That's fine, whatever. It's
I think
kind of lazy.
The other thing to keep in mind with Dante's Inferno, the base game is an easy but good completion. Like, it's still fun to play. And the first DLC was very easy. And then this came along. And for a lot of people, it sort of ruined that completion. It took a long time to do. I think you need a second player for a good portion of it. So it it took everything about a game that, again, was a relatively easy completion, but a satisfying one, and then added something that made it much more difficult to do, was not true to the core gameplay. It just, that's another one that gets shouted out a lot, unfortunately, for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and
did you finish that, Devin?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't even try it, so I can't really speak from experience. I did everything else.
I remember X, the hero, beating his head against the wall for the Immortals Phoenix Rising one of them, whatever he did, and he got it done. So I was thinking that's more along the lines of something a little different from the main game, but I'm not sure. Our resident Phoenix Rising person is on the beach, so we'll ask him next week. As far as the Assassin's Creed stuff, I'm pretty sure I hear mixed on those ones. So, Mr. Andrew Pants himself, Ahizo, says, I want DLC that keeps the core gameplay but expands on it. Assassin's Creed's Tyranny of King Washington is a good example, as is Syndicate's Jack the Ripper DLC. That one seems to come up quite a bit. Some games try to change the formula too much and it doesn't play well. Using it. Assassin's Creed again, Revelations Lost Archive tried to turn it into a first-person puzzle platformer. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say. Typing this, I'm realizing Assassin's Creed just knows how to do DLC. Do they? Learning from mistakes is important too, though. Understanding your old DLC was bad makes me appreciate your new DLC more. Torque's Campaign of Carnage is a great DLC on Borderlands 2, learning from the mistakes of the dumpster fire that is Mad Moxie's Underdome. Oh man. We had talked about Borderlands, forgot. Oh wait, Borderlands 2 also gave us Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which I still rate as one of the best DLCs I've played in many franchises. In any franchise, I assume he's trying to say. Yes. Although I will say, so I'm pretty sure we got stuck in that DLC. Like actually stuck. Yeah. Did we wind up restarting it?
I think we hit a glitch. There was a quest giver that didn't spawn.
Yeah.
And it's not completely unusual. It is known to happen. But we didn't get the quest and we had to play it over. But it didn't feel terrible to have to do that. It's always a little annoying. And our issues with Borderlands 2 are well documented. But that DLC was still fun.
Oh, so good.
It was funny.
It's a standalone spin-off.
With things. Yeah, they should make one of
those. They spun it off. Like, it's its own game. You can even buy just that if that's what you're into.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to turn the conversations a little bit sideways now. Mental Knight, the 5th, says, I am on record as deploring difficulty mismatches. I never want a fairly challenging game to have baby achievements in an update, and I don't want vice versa. As for actual content, I like almost anything that's more of the same or a slightly different flavor, such as Minerva's Den in Bioshock 2, the Martial Arts Tournament and Zombie Story in Sleeping Dogs, Enter the Dominatrix in Saints Row the 4th, George Washington stuff in Assassin's Creed. Same, but different, but still same. Love you, Mental. I never want trials and challenge modes if that wasn't the main game. No matter how well done, they feel tacked on and tedious. I'm looking at you, Bioshock Infinite Clash in Clouds, Dishonored Dunwall City Trials, and I'm looking at you again, Bioshock 2 Protector Trials. All right.
Those Protector Trials are real bad.
Highly opinionated. Now, I'm going to ask a question to you guys.
Okay.
Are we including title updates in this? So when he says he doesn't want baby achievements in an update, obviously our good friends Zidalon come to mind.
But those are already
even if the
easy.
game, well, yeah, but something like Mushroom Savior, at least you would play through 20 levels, and then the title update, you just have to do some nonsense in the first level, and you get a free 1,000. So I know we've talked about this to death, but does this count in the spirit?
Well, I think speaking for myself in the way that I read the question, DLC implies spending money. Title updates, you don't spend money on them. So I did not really consider title updates when considering the question, because part of what you're considering with DLC is cost. Is it worth what you're going to be investing, whether it's an independent DLC or a season pass, to get this content? So I think title updates are tangential to the conversation.
I think the phrase DLC does not imply payment. It just is content that needed to be downloaded, secondary to the main game.
Yeah, but in my mind, DLC always comes with a cost.
Yeah, I have seen the phrase free
I'm sure
DLC.
there are free DLCs.
Yeah, tossed around.
Yeah, I see what Devin's saying. Or we had something like Titanfall where it started off as paid DLC, but then they just made it free.
All the gear stuff is free.
That was a great title update / DLC.
But like, I don't know. I'm not going to be able to articulate this well because this wasn't really the discussion we set out to have. But the title updates in Titanfall feel different than the DLC in Titanfall. Like the DLC in Titanfall was mostly maps. The title updates were things like the black market and earning credits and stuff like that. Like stuff that was more about like expanding the base gameplay was built into the title updates, where the DLC was maps. So I don't think that's a universal thing, but the flavor of them is different. I don't know how to say that so that it makes more sense. But yeah, and I get what you're saying about free DLC, but I don't know that. I don't think any of us mentioned free DLC in any of our discussions, so I don't really think that was the core concept as we were answering this question, whether we intended it to be or not.
I also, off the top of my head, can't really think of a free DLC.
Operation Tango, the trial modes.
I'm sure there's some.
Okay, yeah. See, I know there's more, and I'm sure there's been free DLC that I've gotten, but outside of what you just said, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. DLC, just in my mind, is something that even if it just costs $1, it's some sort of extra content, whereas like a title update is just, hey, this is something new that we're expanding the game, like Michelle said with Titanfall.
I think there was a really brief period where there was a concept of free DLC and PDLC, premium DLC, that you'd have to pay for. That would be the bigger, more expansive things. And maybe that sort of settled into title updates versus just DLC. But I'm not sure.
I was looking at Peggle 2. I thought those were free, but apparently
No, they had a cost. They were very cheap, but they had a cost. Now, all DLC feels free if you have a game share partner that pays for the DLC. So I can imagine.
True.
Shots fired.
All right.
Damn,
well, that was a
Michelle.
good discussion.
Thank you for the question, X. That was generated a lot of good discussion, and thank you for all
That was
the
fun.
answers to the patrons, because it's great to see this variety of input when we have these discussions.
That's the thing about
And
X.
if you want to add,
he's going to give it to you.
God,
Wow.
How much of that sound clip
Too
can
soon,
we include
too soon.
before
I don't
it
even
gets
know what I was going to say. That was so
censored?
stupid. Oh,
Devin got
and
himself with that one.
if you want to give your comments to this, that's so dumb. You can comment in the Discord and podcast discussion. Let us know what you think. Well, with that, let's get into the game showcase. Just continue in order. Devin, even though I should have your name stricken from this after that stupid joke.
Speaking of
We'll explain it to you
strikes,
after.
Dear God, how do you do that? It's so dumb.
I've been playing MLB The Show 22. It's baseball.
Yes.
Baseball.
And it is probably...
Otani.
Yeah. Do you like Shohei
Shinjiro.
Ohtani? MLB The Show 22
Shohei.
love Shohei Ohtani. They love him a lot. And I've been really enjoying...
MLB Shotani.
Oh, nice. I've been really enjoying... I got all the achievements, and then I just kept playing. So Beast and I did some of the achievements that would be easier to do with two people. And then we just decided, because there's a co-op mode, where you go up against another team of 2 players, and you simultaneously control a baseball game. And we were just having so much fun just dominating these poor saps on the other end of the field.
Did you just use the F word?
No.
Wow.
What?
Why use the
Fantasy?
F word?
Wait. Mhm. No.
Oh.
No?
Yep.
No.
Field?
Field, that's it.
Never mind.
That no, I know where he's going with this. I'm just not going to acknowledge it. That we
Well, you need to do your
Already
impression of
spent so much
me.
time on
I was playing for
chastising you.
fun and not for achievements.
Oh, that F word.
And
Oh.
yeah,
There you go.
we just because like one person gets to be the pitcher and the other person fields,
Field.
or one person's the batter and the other person can do all the steals and stuff, and we're like working as a group, like, oh no, go steal, and like I'm gonna bunt it, and it's great. It is so much fun. It's also a fairly easy completion that I've completed well below the estimate because I got very lucky on some RNG achievements, including fielding a 110-mile-an-hour ball and hitting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball out of the park, which required a bit of luck and use of Jacob deGrom and the Field of Dreams baseball park. The attention to detail, it's such a perfect baseball game. And if you don't like baseball, there's nothing it's going to do that's going to change that. But if you have any inkling that you like baseball, you're going to like this game. It's just out and out improvement. I wish the list was just a little bit better and made me do more stuff, though, because this one doesn't even make me play March to October or Road to the Show. And I actually had a lot of fun playing Road to the Show in the last year. And I might just do it again because I just like playing MLB The Show 22.
Yeah, baseball games not necessarily my thing. I'm not the biggest fan of baseball to begin with, even though I'm currently wearing an Orioles shirt.
Well, that's because you root for the Baltimore Orioles.
I mean, you're not wrong. They're awful. But I do know that MLB The Show is like the baseball franchise out there. There's nothing that comes close to it. And getting it on Xbox was a huge get, especially since it's in Game Pass.
Yeah, if you have Game Pass, it's almost a no-brainer. And all the different modes and stuff, I even like doing some of the little challenges. I think Al had one that he really enjoyed. He was talking about. I didn't get a chance to. I missed it. Missed the boat on the Jackie Robinson, but
that's okay. Yeah. But it's just like you said with the attention to detail. So on Jackie Robinson Day, everyone wears number 42. On Jackie Robinson Day, they had a moment where you play as Jackie Robinson. You know, even though there's a little thing that he was playing on the LA Dodgers, but that's okay. That's okay.
Well, that's okay. They're henceforth, the team was always the Cleveland Guardians. I don't understand what you're talking about with any other name for the Cleveland Guardians.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's one of the good things about the game. Every day there's these moments that you can just recreate.
That's cool.
Is there anything appreciable that was added or changed from, not talking about the achievement list, because I know you mentioned the achievement list doesn't include Road to the Show, but it just in terms of the gameplay and what's available from 21 to 22, was there anything notable that changed that's worth pointing out?
I found that the netcode worked a little bit better, especially from launch, because 21 did not work great right off the jump. I had to wait till like May before I could play anybody online, and the game came out. That was last year's 21's. This one worked still worked pretty great, especially considering that for the most part, baseball's pretty fast paced. So figuring out all that, a lot of it is just roster updating though. I think they added a lot of different ballparks. There were some that I noticed that weren't necessarily there. Like I think the Field of Dreams wasn't in 21. But that's from the movie Field of Dreams, and you can go hit a home run and hit Kevin Costner's house. They built it, and I came.
All right, so that was MLB The Show.
I will tack on
disconnected.
something that I believe you get the choice to play with 2021 rules or 2022 rules, where pitchers can hit on the National League. So you have the choice of DHs in the National League. Yeah. And you have the choice of ghost runners on second. You have the choices of all that stuff.
You can either choose to play by the real rules or the modern rules.
DHs are here to stay, my friend. I don't like it as much as you do, but working out for the Mets so far, so I'm growing to like it a little bit.
It works out for my scorecard, too. So much neater without doing all the replacements. I miss the DH, but man.
I just sit there.
Not having the DH, but
sit there and I feel like an old man just scowling at the designated hitter in Wrigley Field. Scowling.
Yeah, new rules.
You can generate power by the amount of spinning engraves that are being done, Kenny.
Undertaker.
I'm not a big baseball fan. I know you all were angry about the new rules, and I meant to ask about what the new rules were, but I forgot.
Well, we just explained it, Kenny, but that's okay.
That's fine.
You said a lot of things, and a lot of it went over my head.
Well,
But this
okay.
is an achievement hunting podcast.
Do you know what it?
So we're not going to talk about baseball rules. That can be for the post show.
Join us for our
All right.
Patreon exclusive
That's
baseball talk.
ESPN.
Oh, man. We're going to get so many people to sign up for that. All right. If that's all for MLB The Show, Elle, what game do you want to talk about?
All right. Well, as the 17th place true achievement scorer in puzzle games in the state of New York, I feel qualified to talk about this game called Inbento. And it is from publisher 7 Levels, from developer Afterburn, which sounds very painful. It is basically...
Taco Bell.
If you look at the thumbnail, you're like, "Oh, this is cute. There's 2 cats, and looks like they're playing cards." But if you look closer, they're actually eating sushi. So,
Ooh, sushi.
yeah, it's a game about sushi, which of course made me excited because I like sushi.
So you got my attention
And
now.
I like food, and to a certain extent, I like puzzle games. You start off with a bento box, I guess you would call it, which I believe bento is the word for box, so it's a box. But that's neither here nor there. And basically, you get a picture, and you have to match. You get 4 pieces of sushi or 5 pieces of sushi, and you can rotate them, and you have to basically just match them and form the pattern. So in the early levels, you're basically just throwing them on, and the hardest thing you have to do is layer them on top of each other to hide them and form the pattern. And in the beginning of the game, it's fun. You can figure stuff out. As you progress, you find they add new game mechanics, such as rotating, switching the sushi pieces, moving them off of your board and then putting them back on the board, and all kinds of other crazy things. So eventually, after a few stages, it gets difficult. Now, I actually played the first few stages with my kids, and my kids were actually getting the hang of it and enjoying it. And then after a while, what I was doing is going to the video guide and just telling them the first move. So it was like a compromise. Instead of just telling them the whole answer, telling them the first move, and that was usually enough to get them started and solve the puzzle. There's 14 levels. And, the achievement video is about 45 minutes. So they tell you just put the video on 0.75 speed and you'll probably have it done in a little over an hour. But that doesn't really work. It takes longer. But
Looks
don't
like
have much to say
just
about
a
it.
basic
watching
puzzle game.
I don't know. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before, where you're layering things. I did find it interesting. Did you play it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's one track. It's awful. The musical track. Turn it off immediately. I'm usually a big proponent for these music. Ugh, awful. Turn it off and put on something a little more rockin'. Yeah, but you are a cat, and every time you beat a level, you you start off as a baby, and then you get your teenager, and then you graduate. Yeah, there's cat scenes, I guess you can call them.
Oh.
And well, anyway,
Devin approved of that one.
Is this what I do to people?
It was the joke was perfect. So
There it is.
it is getting late, and I am delirious. But anyway, the game is $5. If it goes on sale, pick it up. Like I said, you'll probably enjoy the first half of the game without a guide, and then resort to a guide, and it'll be done fairly quickly. And yeah, that's Inbento. We'll have to find someone who's better at me than in puzzle games to help out.
If only we knew someone.
Yeah, I know. To find someone.
Well, that's okay. You didn't ask, so.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Devin, read this guide for me. Yeah, one thing
All
about
right.
it is you can't find a written guide for this type.
No, there's no way a written guide would work for this.
You'd probably have to do a series of pictures.
All right. Well, in that case, let's get to the last game. Michelle, what game do you want to talk about?
I am going to talk briefly about another puzzle game called Castles. And Castles is developed by Woot Games and published by Badland Publishing.
Woot.
It came out 5 years ago already, 6 years ago. So it's been around a while. It's only $4.99, but it's never been a Game Pass game. It's never been games with gold. So it hasn't been tracked by too many people. It does go on sale occasionally, but at $4.99, it's already a fair price. In Castles, you essentially are trying to match these bricks that fall down on a 5x5 grid. So when the game starts, it's a 5x5 grid. You can move around the outside, your little character can, or you can move across the grid. As gameplay progresses, these blocks fall down, and the blocks have a color and an icon on them. So they will be red with a pickaxe, or they will be blue with a shovel. And what you have to do is match at least sets of 3 to remove those blocks from the board. All the while, more and more blocks are falling on you. If you make matches of 4, you get a hammer, a sledgehammer that you can use to remove some blocks. If you make a match of 5, you get an exploding barrel that allows you to destroy more blocks. And that's pretty much it. That's the core of the gameplay. Now, unlike many of these kind of games, because you're actually controlling a little character, the character can push and pull the blocks, so that's how they get next to each other. But you can also press A to vault over blocks. So you don't have to walk around the entirety of the grid to get to the blocks that you want to move. Castles is easy to play, but difficult to master.
Oh, yeah.
There is a campaign of sorts. The way the campaign is structured is you play up through 10 floors. So each floor is a different set of tasks. So you'll see it in the upper left. It'll say you have to make 1 match of sand-colored blocks and 2 matches of blocks with axes on them. And once you make those matches, you move up to the next floor. Once you get to the 10th floor, you access the enemy for that set, the main villain or whatever for that set of floors. Defeat that villain, earn an achievement. So that's where most of the game's achievements come from. Castles also has a set of achievements attached to a survival mode, which is exactly what it sounds like. You just have to continue to remove bricks for up to eventually 7 minutes. And that is quite difficult. Now, here's the thing with Castles. It does have a high TA ratio, and I think for the most part it deserves it. But it is apparently a game that if you have the patience, you can sort of cheat your way through. The way that you do this is, well, there are two elements. First, it's co-op. So you can have a second person join you and have them help move around all the blocks for you. Or you can just plug in the second controller, make sure that second controller gets an exploding barrel, and then park it in the corner so that you basically have a second barrel ready to go at any time that you need it. The other thing you can do is pause frequently. If you pause the game, it does not cover up any of the grid. So you can look and see what you have and plot your next moves as carefully as you can. And if you abuse this, that's apparently the way to succeed at the higher levels of the game. I have not done that because what I find fun about the game is that it gets pretty frantic. It is unfortunately one of those where you'll get through the first 2 or 3 levels just fine, and by the time you get to level 7 or 8, that's where you struggle. So it involves playing up to there every time, which can get annoying. But the base gameplay is fun. The controls are a little loose, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the best way to put it, but frequently it'll be like, I only moved up 1 block and it moved up 2.
Yeah.
So that's just something you have to adjust to the game's input, I suppose. But I like Castles. For $5, if you like puzzle games, it's an easy recommendation. If you don't like games that might be hard to complete, I would not recommend it. I have not tried this pause trick myself, so I really don't know how successful that is and how many times you'll have to attempt that. And I don't intend to, because that's not really how I enjoy playing the game. But yeah, it's a solid little package. It's only been tracked by about 3,000 people on TA, so not a whole bunch, but I've enjoyed my time with it. I played it a couple years ago and went back to it recently and kind of fell right back into playing it. And yeah, that is Castles. You've played this, Danny?
Yeah, I played it a couple years now. And since I'm not the biggest fan of puzzle games. They're just okay, in my opinion. When it did start to get a little frantic, I completely just kind of lost it. It's just like, that's enough for me.
I can see that. I mean, I've never tried it with a second person, so I'm curious how that actually would. I feel like because I get so possessive in these games, because I see a certain way to solve things, that I would probably get. And I'm not just saying this of Elle. I know everyone's going to assume that I'm just trying to not so politely call out Elle. I'm actually not firing shots this time. I get the feeling I would be so concerned about what the second person is doing impacting what I'm trying to do that would actually be more stressful. But at some point, give it a try. And at the very least, have that second person to stand there and be like, look, just collect this sledgehammer or whatever. Something you do have to be aware of in castles. If you make a 4-match and if you already collected an exploding barrel, you want to hold on to that. But if you make a match of 4 and accidentally walk over a sledgehammer, it just replaces your exploding barrel. So you have to be mindful of that as you're matching things, so that you actually you really, as much as possible, want to keep that barrel with you to keep the gameplay moving. It's not necessary, but it's definitely helpful.
Well, I can't believe you called out Elle like that.
I assume that the achievements wouldn't pop for both people, though, right?
I don't think so. I don't think it has a second login. So but I couldn't tell you for sure because, like I said, I honestly haven't tried it that way as yet. And I don't. There's nothing that okay, wait. There is one achievement that requires, or 2 achievements that require the second player. There's one for playing in versus mode, and I think that's just you have to just play a game so the second player can stand there until it's done. And there's another one to play co-op and explode your buddy with the exploding barrel, which once again you plug in a controller, you do what you have to do, and that's it. So there really isn't. There are a few, but I don't think they really required active play from the second player, if I recall correctly. But it's been a while since I've done them.
By the way, I forgot to mention in Inbento, the achievements are literally just for completing the levels. There's nothing fancy or special about anything. That's why they're so forgettable.
Oh, okay.
But I always want to try to remember to mention the achievements. But yeah.
Now that I'm looking at the achievement list in Castles, the achievement list is 24 achievements. So there is some variety in there, and there are it's got a misspelled achievement or description. I remember that now. So it's dynamite
with an I.
Yeah, that's right.
I was going to bring that up.
With an I. Yep. And there are, you'll play a game on versus mode. So it does ask you to go through the different types of modes that are in the game, which I like it when achievements do that, so that you don't just stick with one thing. But the core of the gameplay is that really like climbing up the tower mode that you get the achievements for defeating the enemies on each 10th level.
Well, that was castles. Now let's continue into our sales portion. Elle, what do you have?
I found a couple games. I remember Nate talking about Down in Bermuda is $2 instead of $20. And is yet another puzzle game, 3 to 4 hours.
Good sale.
Looks like a good sale. If you want an easy game, there's Tony and Clyde, which was the game that we talked about that parodied something. Yeah, the art.
Yeah, the art was
something.
I forget.
Kane and Lynch.
Nate's talked about this.
I don't know.
Yeah, Kane and Lynch.
Yeah, that's it. Kane and
correct.
Lynch. Right. So that is supposedly a half-hour or so game for $5, down from $10. It is a shoot 'em up, and that's all I got. Usually before and after the spring sale, there's not too much, but
yeah, there's
maybe someone else has something.
Almost nothing. What do you got, Vulgar?
I put in. I just put in one, but there are several. I guess I'd call them loose leaf Artifacts Monday games, or Halifax Monday, as I got. The one I'm going to point out is because I bought it with Dreamwalker, Never Fall Asleep. I imagine it is a game about some sort of lady who is exceptional in a field and uses a variety of different tools to complete an objective. Probably cuts glass with a diamond. Uses scissors and has to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole to eventually solve some sort of fairy tale something.
That's a really good synopsis, considering you clearly have not researched this game. I don't know why you know so much about it.
Yeah.
Now, how is her ability to find hidden objects?
Dependent on my ability to find hidden objects, which is which is bad. And I imagine there's also probably some sort of collectible thing in the background you have to find.
Do they fade in and out?
Yeah, they fade in and out. There's some sort of thing. You'll have fun. It's 374 down from 15. There's a few others. I think it's Scarlet Child, Cursed Mysteries, or Adjective, Noun,
Scarlet Child,
Mystery, Adjective. You'll find it. Just you'll be okay. I believe in you.
All right.
We could use some free games.
Yeah, sales sucked, but we did get some Game Pass news this week.
I just imagine Koosh is
For
there
today.
on the beach listening to this right now going, no, you missed them all.
Oh, I'm sure there's something. If Nate was here, he would recommend.
He's in the water with his computer.
Just
Trying to figure out recommendations for
Holding
every
above
single
his
person.
I have to say, I appreciate Nate taking the time to make a recommendation for the panel on last week's show, and I'm definitely keeping an eye out for when Four-Sided Fantasy hits a sale, so just want to thank Nate for taking the time to do that.
I'm going to play a
Now
different
we
bug
can
game
resume
instead
making
of
fun
Bug
of him.
Pitcher. Oh, yes.
All right, so the first game, and I know Devin was really liking this. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion.
It's great.
Coming to Cloud, Console, and PC April 26th.
it's here now.
This doesn't even sound like a game. This sounds like I don't even know, a fever dream.
It came out now?
Yeah, you can play it right now. It's great.
Oh.
Do it. Go download it. It's like 376 megabytes or whatever, but who's counting? And it's great. It's hilarious. I was having so much fun. I was laughing my way through the whole thing. It doesn't look like it'll be all that hard to complete. I think there is an invincibility or whatever, but I wasn't really paying attention. I went through 2 whole dungeons in like an hour, and I loved every little bit of it. It's great. Go play it.
With a name like that, I just imagine there's going to be lots of people that are going to download it just because they gotta just see what the hell is going on with this.
That's what it did for me, and it worked.
And just as a bonus, it came out on tax day this year, which is just perfect. Next game.
Hold on,
Oh,
real quick.
okay.
There is a review on the game, and the review mentions that the God mode does not affect achievements, but there seems
Woot,
to
woot.
be 2 unobtainable supplies. The dev seems
Womp
to be aware of
womp.
the issue, and it's working on a fix.
Yeah,
Sweet. That's good news.
yeah, it's great.
All right. Also, April 26th, Research and Destroy. This game is launching into Game Pass on day 1.
Game Pass is crushing it on the titles this week. Just
All right. Also on the 26th, 7 Days to Die will be available. As just a little note on this game, the servers are set to close in September. So yeah, if this is something
Oh.
that's interested, play it now when it gets released.
yeah, it's looks like
Okay.
it's a survival. I've dove it. It's a survival
Devin-
game because I've dove everything with
Devin will be
zombies.
hosting sessions from now until September. So
No, I won't. No,
oh, it doesn't work. Like this. Damn it.
no.
Prue will. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Next game coming to Game Pass April 28th is Unsold, which is another available on day 1 of Game Pass. It's
Might be
apparently
a hard one.
Yeah, it's a little propaganda. They say is a punishingly difficult yet fair action RPG.
They don't want to scare people.
Sounds accurate.
All right. Also, April 28th is Bugsnax, which should be on Cloud Console and PC. Same dev as Octodad. Coming May 5th is Citizen Sleeper and Trek to Yami. May 12th, Sea of Thieves: The Shrouded Deep, which I guess is the new expansion. I know nothing about that.
That's
More
April
Sea of
21st. April
Okay.
21st through May 12th.
Oh, okay. I see. I was going to say, I definitely said May 12th.
Limited time adventure.
In which Death Dealers will play it consecutively for...
And then lastly...
Don't say the next one. No.
Minecraft Dungeons.
Oh, frig.
Luminous Night. Season 2 is available on April 20th.
My son
So,
is
more
into this
Minecraft
stupid
Dungeons.
game now. Whenever Michelle comes over, he makes us all do a level. But at least we get some progress done.
Yes. Now, you guys didn't mention it last week either, but there is another Game Pass Game Pass game that was announced, and that was Eiyuden Chronicles Rising, which is coming out on May 10th. It's launching into Game Pass. For folks like me, who are super excited about that, I'm sad that you didn't mention it, but it's getting mentioned
Waiting
now.
for you.
So I guess so. So Eiyuden Chronicles is the spiritual successor to the Suikoden franchise that came out on the PlayStation consoles. Konami still holds the license. Konami doesn't want to do anything with the license because they can't make a pachinko machine out of it. So they did a Kickstarter and got lots and lots of money above their original goal. So one of the things in the stretch goals was this pre-game sort of deal called Eiyuden Chronicles Rising. Eiyuden Chronicles Rising is a town builder with an action RPG element. So the gameplay, I have read that the gameplay is slow, yet it is faster than the main game is going to be, because the main game is a traditional turn-based JRPG. And I also have read that some of the information from playing this game will carry over into the main game once it's released, hopefully next year. So if you kickstarted at a certain level, you got Eiyuden Chronicles Rising as one of your perks, but it is launching into Game Pass on May 10th when it launches, as a day one title. And I believe the full game is going to be launching as a day one title when it releases in 2023 sometime.
Cool. Also with that, a couple other games that are launching into Game Pass eventually within the next 2 months. No official release date as of yet. A couple of Ubisoft games. We have Assassin's Creed Origins and then For Honor Marching Fire Edition to PC. They will be coming to Game Pass, so if you're looking to buy those, hold off maybe. You'll get them with Game Pass soon.
I can't wait to be on the podcast 2 years from now lamenting how I never got around to playing Assassin's Creed Origins when it was on Game Pass.
I was a sap. I bought it on sale and completed it.
Same.
Very nice.
Yeah, but you got at least you beat it.
But I'm a sap. I could have saved all of this money.
And speaking of season passes, I'm pretty sure
Story
I bought the season pass for that because it was like uber cheap when you bought it with the game.
Ubi cheap.
As someone who's skipped every Assassin's Creed game since
you haven't played it?
Ezio trilogy.
Oh.
Is this one I should jump into and play if I find the time in the next 2 years? Or is it better to go back to 3 or Black Flag? I know they sort of removed some of the storyline elements from the first couple games. What's your take on it, Devin?
I would say it doesn't matter. And it feels like Origins is somewhat of a soft reboot.
Definitely was
my impression. And they kind of sloughed off a lot of the baggage that the other games had. So you're perfectly fine starting with Assassin's Creed Origins. And I think you would really enjoy it.
Awesome.
I haven't played Origins, but from what I've heard, it's less stealth, more of the action-y parts, and it's also less of the modern-day crap that no one really cared about.
Yeah, it's very, very little modern day, and also it comes with combat. It has it now, as opposed to the other ones, which,
comes with combat.
Now with combat.
No, it's
All right. But then we have some games leaving Game Pass on April 30th. Cricket 19, Outlast 2, Secret Neighbor, and Streets of Rage 4, which apparently makes Devin and Elle sad.
That's the best of the bunch. It's so good.
That one was also tricky because it lasted 2 years in Game Pass. So after that first year, you're like, all right, this is here to stay. It's a Sega game. It ain't going nowhere. And yeah, it's going somewhere. And it's a $25 game. That's a lot. But it looks like it has been on sale for half price at some point. So I will just wait for it to go half price again.
It's $20 now if that's 20% off.
It's really good.
Not good enough.
And the DLC is pretty good too.
We should
What's
talk
the
about
DLC for the game?
Talk about DLC one day.
Yeah, Mr. X's Nightmare. It adds it adds like a roguelite mode where you pick a character and then you get different upgrades throughout. It's pretty neat.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, just as a reminder, if you want any of these games, it's 20% off while it's in Game Pass. So you can pick them up a little bit cheaper. But with that, let's get into some contests. Michelle, would you like to read out the two losers this week?
Yes, it is with a very, very heavy heart that I have to announce that this week in G-Task, we lost from our community Icefire, not from Tennessee, who finished 21st, and ElroyOMJ, who finished 18th. Great run, guys. Congratulations on having your lives back.
That
I hope you
explains
both
why
have...
Elroy recorded something.
Exactly. He'll be back now. I hope you both enjoy having your free time, and I hope you both remember the lessons from this and don't sign up again. Don't do it to yourselves.
Oh,
It's
they'll
not worth
absolutely
it.
sign up again.
But I also look forward to reading about your exploits next time around. Good job, guys. I think this is the last week of eliminations, and then next week is it. It's basically done.
Yep,
Sounds about right.
This was week 24. So
getting to the end.
good job, guys. Mm-hmm.
I personally would like to say how disappointed I am in Elroy for not winning. Just putting it out there.
Dang.
Wow.
I mean, if you're going to enter every year, win once. That's all, just once.
Don't you enter
Yeah,
every
you're
year?
First logic.
I don't want to hear about this top 20, top 10 nonsense. Just, you better win. Win or go home.
Yeah,
But yeah,
get
damn
that
right
hoodie.
you better start preloading now for next year. You should preload now for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
and
we'll
by
get
then,
lucky. I'll go back to sheer gamer score.
That'll be what happens. So preload for 3 years and then they'll change the format. That's exactly what would happen. No, of course you
New
did a great
tags
job,
only.
Elroy. I love you.
Mhm.
I swear you're all right too. Except you have poor taste in co-op partners.
All right. I guess I'll be the replacement Koosh today and talk about the Gamertag Challenge.
Sounds good.
It's Ragnarok, the fellow Nebraskan. His wildcard game is Cyberpunk 2077. That's worth a bonus there for any new achievement or completion. And then the bonus, better known Norse, any word related to Norse mythology, Ragnarok, Odin, Valhalla, and we'll even allow Vikings too. That gives you a bonus draw. And you used to have a little bit of time left to do that. I don't know, like 10-ish days. I don't know. I can't math.
Something like that. I don't know what today's day it is.
Thursday.
Thank you. That narrows it down. All right. Well, with that, let's get into the final segment for us, which is Brag Camp. Take it away, Michelle.
All right. We have made it to the final segment of the show. In completions, we have Enigma Gamer 77 with 350 completed games. Ben L72 has just passed 400 completed games. Morbid 237 at 450 completed games. A Gray Shark at 600 completed games. Isrit 102 at 1,050 completed games. And at the top of this particular mountain, we have Mental Knight the 5th with 1,300 completed games. Good job, guys.
In ratio, Sniped by a Girl has reached a new milestone of a tier ratio 1.6. Moving on, in streaks. Sassy Slingo's on an 8-year achievement win streak. Should have moved that to the bottom. That's my fault. Ace is on a 50-day achievement win streak. Chesno's on a 350-day achievement win streak. Jeremy DJ, 950-day win streak. Wakapeil has a 3,100-day win streak, as is Sniped by a Girl. There you are again. Blue Thunder is on a 3,250-day win streak, and Big Ell is also on a win streak, I guess. Is 3,400 or whatever.
Whatever is correct.
Mm-hmm.
In Gamerscore, PRTM Clue Scroll has reached a new milestone of 200,000
Yes.
Gamerscore. I'm like 400,000. Kronos has hit 500,000. Ozbofniak, 750,000. Enigma Gamer and Casual Exile have both hit 800,000. A Gray Shark has hit 900,000. Alicia has hit the fabled 1 million gamer score. And Dave Bodum has hit 1.1 million gamer score.
Now, hold on. I'm pretty sure before we started recording today that L also hit 900,000 gamer score.
Did you?
I don't know.
Damn, Shell, you're stealing my thunder.
I'm going to steal your thunder. Yeah, tell us about how you did it, because we're in the gamer score portion of Brag Camp.
I meticulously made sure to even out my gamer score with Ord and did a bunch of other nonsense. And I played another puzzle game, Mikarama, and completed that to get my 900,000 on the dot. And yeah.
What was
And I
the
made
achievement?
I don't know, just completing Mikarama. I made sure it was just a game that I could complete, so I didn't accidentally pop anything to mess it up.
Okay, fair enough.
So I mapped it out.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I'll try to pick something fun for 1 million, I guess. And
you have 100,000 more to think about it.
And I made sure to take a picture on my 360 also, just because that's what I used to do, starting at 50,000. And now there's commas on the one, but there's still no commas on the 360, so I like the way it looks. Better on the 360.
Nice.
But yeah, congratulations to me. But also Alicia, who hit her million, did it on Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, that classic. And the achievement is called I'm Ready, I'm Ready. So
Nice. Very cool.
very good
Well,
job.
congratulations. 1 million is still a big deal.
Yeah.
It's still less than 1,000 people in the entire Xbox gamosphere.
Now,
Mhm.
So
I am curious who has the highest ratio of all the.
Is there an easy way to sort that on TA?
There probably is. Not. I don't know. I'm curious if there's
Because
anyone in the
otherwise,
in
you're
the
going to have to click
twos
on all like
or in the
650 people.
threes. I don't know if there's an easy way. If someone knows, let me know, because I am very curious if there's people that, I know like Redemption will play real games and baby games, but I'm sure it's majority easy games.
If there's
I'm
a way that we could
curious.
easily figure that out, I would genuinely be interested in knowing that as well. Or is it just everyone with 1 million just has a 1.4 ratio or something?
I don't think
That's a-
so.
good question.
I don't think so.
Well, if anyone in the Discord has any clue of how to do this,
Yeah, I'm curious.
let us know, because I'm curious as
I'm
well.
at a 1.6.
Or if anyone in the Discord is bored at work and wants to sit there and click through all of like 650 people and just tell us what it is. Thank you.
Everyone's doing it now. So
And
it
I'm
is
trying.
time for leaderboards. ASU Unknown is now third in the Wales Achievements Completion Percentage for leaderboards. Dark Lord Davis. Whoa, haven't seen that name in a while. It's top 50 of the Kentucky True Achievement Leaderboard.
nice.
I'm still confused about how he's Dark Lord Davis and we call him Dinoble. I really still don't understand why.
He's
that
like
is.
Prince. He has so many different titles.
Maybe you should ask him.
Have you tried talking to him? They'll be like, what? Huh? You do not get a straight answer out of that person. There'll be some obscenities in there. I don't know. I'm not going near that with a 10-foot pole. Fuoth is in the top 10 of the Wisconsin True Achievement Leaderboard for simulation racing. If there's anything more boring than arcade racing, it's simulation racing.
Dang.
Hey now.
But wait, I'm curious. I didn't wait. You could edit that out, right? Not really.
No promises.
He can.
Infamous. Oh, Don't. Infamous is in the top 50 of the TA difference leaderboard for action RPGs.
Ooh, nice.
Luke 17,000 is now in the top 5,000 of the TA difference leaderboard for management. I would say the difference between 17,000 and 5,000 is 12,000. But who's counting?
Hey, looky there.
Michael
Wow.
KV
It's the
is in
educational
that.
portion of the show.
Yes, I mathed. Michael KV is in the top 1,000 of the Europe TA leaderboard for Windows. Retro Chief 1969 is in the top 5 of the USA TA leaderboard for point and clicks. There you go. Sir Polygon is in 3rd in the Georgia TA leaderboard for Dogeball and Dogecoin. And Drunken Monkeys is in the top 100 of the California Gamer Score leaderboard for role-playing. And somebody that we used to know, Rocker Dude, is now number 1 in the games played leaderboard for Vayners.
Nice.
I mean, if he just wants to start all of them and not complete them, I guess that's something he can do.
It's something he
Fine.
did.
It's a leaderboard to chase. Yeah.
It is something he did. In random brags, since we don't chart TA score anymore, Retro Chief hit his 1 million TA score.
Awesome. Congratulations.
And he made a joke about how his gamer score is pretty close to his TA score. Going back to what we were talking about. So he'll be hitting his million shortly. And he plays, a lot of point and click, so even if they're quote-unquote difficult, there's always going to be guides out there to make them have low ratios. Dynabull has a 4-day achievement streak. Very nice. Rocker Dude told
brag
me...
is relative to the individual.
Rocker Dude says, as long as you're not looking, I hit 3 million gamers. Wait a minute, I don't think so. I think that's a lie. And Luke 17,000 said, I just had a nice week. The sun is out and it was pleasant. Is that shout out worthy? Why, yes, it is, because I just shouted you out, buddy.
Can I shout out a couple people as
Please.
well? Is that okay? So I just wanted to shout out a couple of my Gems of War buddies who are also members of the Discord. Isret102, who we heard from before, or heard about one of his accomplishments before, popped the Jeff achievement. Which,
Nice.
if you know
That's
anything
insane.
about gems, that is a big deal. So congratulations. And also want to congratulate Triple Triad 777 for getting the new Horde Mimic achievement, because it is an RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG achievement, and has only been tracked by like 80 people so far and has like a 30 ratio. So good job on getting that done.
Oh,
So,
wait.
congratulations to both.
He
Way to
did
go.
something else equally stupid as playing gems.
What's that?
He completed the new Star Wars Lego game, and has all the Lego games complete now.
Wow.
All
that's
of
awesome.
them?
All of them.
Yes,
Jeez.
I forgot to mention that. That was due to non-recency bias. Yes.
Well,
He mentioned it
congratulations.
yesterday. It was a long time ago. Yes. Congratulations, Triple Triad. Yes, that is a thing that he did. And he was talking about which ones were the best and not the best, and I don't know how you pick between your children like that.
Easy. You just pick the best ones.
Oh, all right.
It's whatever franchise you find the most entertaining.
Yeah. Indiana Jones. Okay. All right, that was fun.
Yeah, good show. That was a lot of fun.
2 hours flew by.
Yeah. I hope it flies by for the people listening to this.
No.
Yeah, they
If
probably,
it didn't,
they
then
probably
y'all suck, because I had
It'll-
fun.
it'll drive by for them.
Be sure to download the additional content pack that we have for an additional $10.99. We have a season pack available for $25.99 that'll keep you up to date
Yay.
with all of our episodes.
That's not the Patreon tiers.
No, but it could be.
It could be. Or you could be a patron over at patreon.com/achievementhunting101 to get the extra content and access to our super secret Discord patron VIP lounge.
We have a new patron, Tara. I just wanted to say, I love you, buddy. Love you, Tara.
Thank you for your patronage. But if nothing else, join the Discord, discord.io/H101. That is where the community is at. That is the good time. If nothing else, it is good. The good place to distract yourself from work, because who wants to work?
I don't.
See, there you go. And then we're also available in all the different places. You know this. It's all on the show notes if you don't. But with that, class is dismissed. See you all next week.
So long.
Bye, everybody.
Hello, AH101. This is Neo21 bringing you the March Year of the Vayner Roundup. I completely forgot to record this last week, so here we are already a week behind and halfway through the month. So first off, the Vayner of the month for April, if you are not aware, is Trash Quest. Unfortunately, if you didn't know that, you're kind of late on the sale because that game was on sale at the beginning of the month for basically $2. So if you didn't pick it up then, it is back to its full price of $10. So for March, the Vayner of the month was Unsighted, which we had 2 completions in. One was Casual Exile, and the other was Skeptical Mario, which came in with the 16th and 17th completion of the game on TA, respectively. So as for the most completed game of the month, that was Flynn, thanks to it being a bounty board game for Better Completions Matter, coming in with 8 completions. And the second most completed game was a recent release into Game Pass, Infernax, with 4 completions. So, for TA earned in the month, first place, as usual, I Make Poop 24/7 with 13,728. Second place was Casual Exile with 12,053. And the third was Icefire with 7,792. For Gamer Score, first place, I Make Poop 24/7 with 5,725. Casual Exile in second with 3,815. And Icefire with 2,660. And for achievements earned, in first place, I Make Poop 24/7 with 136. Second place was Casual Exile with 104. And in third place was Ben L72 with 103, just one less. One more and you would have tied Casual Exile for second place. For most completions in the month, again, I Make Poop 24/7, just knocking it out of the park everywhere he goes, with 7 completions for the month, Casual Exile with 4, and a 5-way tie for third with 2 completions each between Chewy, EOJ, Icefire, Morbid, and Skeptical Mario. And also a special shout out to Skeptical Mario for being the second on TA to complete Batbarian last month. And given that we are basically already halfway through April, we do have a few completions in the Vayner of the month already, which is pretty recent, just came out in December. And at the beginning of the month, there was only 1 completion, but now there are 4. Second place is someone who's not in our competition, but that was Bad Rubber Piggy. And then, who is taking place in Vayner, Year of the Vayner, we have a site third place completion of I Make Poop 24/7, and then a Woo for the 4th completion, and J Huns for the 5th completion. So go ahead and get that completed and get your extra draws for the end of the year. Also, we have had a couple more games get added to the Vayner leaderboard in the last few days, actually, due to new releases. One of them is Wild West Crops, which is normally $5, and it's on a launch sale for $4, which I think 4 or 5 people have already completed. That is already the most completed game of the month so far. And that is a Ratalaika, I believe. Yes, it's a Ratalaika, so that is a very quick completion, which explains the so many completions already. But on the better end of the spectrum, the game Blast Brigade versus the Evil Legion of Dr. Creed, which accidentally released on the store at the end of March for a day or 2, and then they realized they released it too early, and so it stayed on the store, but you couldn't buy it. But it has now been become available in order to purchase. And from what I'm hearing initially from a number of people in our Vayner Discord, it actually is looking to be a pretty good game. And based on the trailer, I would agree. It looks very fun. I can't wait to play it. So that one is $20. So I always wait for sales because I don't play anything pretty much right away. So I'll be picking that up as soon as it goes on sale. So that is about it for the March wrap-up. You guys keep playing those Vayners, and I will talk to you again at the beginning of May.
Greetings and welcome back to another edition of Milestone Musings, where we highlight community members and a milestone that they are particularly proud of, which merits further examination. I am joined today by an individual who is the Chivo community's version of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I probably butchered that, but that's what happens to him on a daily basis. Some individuals might hypothetically call him Xpovos, or even Xpovos thrown in that phantom R, but those in the know refer to him as Kronos, or Crow, or just X. Whatever the case, he joins me on the couch today to discuss his recent milestone of 500,000 hashtag gains. How's it going, Kronos?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. J.
All right. So, I feel like we should start. I'm sure we've covered this, and perhaps I'm slow to the party, but maybe just give us the elevator speech version of the name's origin.
Okay, so really quick, I was in high school, and I was studying Greek, and I discovered that the word Kronos was almost similar enough to the characters that we use in the Latin alphabet that I could copy it over as Xpovos, because of course you couldn't use the Greek characters in any handle or screen name that we were using at the time. It's much more possible now, because I was in high school quite a long while ago. But I decided I'm just going to use that as my handle because it wouldn't be taken anywhere else. All the handles I've been using beforehand, I had to fight for them, and it wasn't anything I could have as an identity. And from that point on, I was Xpovos, even though it's not exactly Kronos, right? But it's close enough. I liked it.
That's cool. Yeah, that was definitely the elevator version. I like it. So that was a very short floor story.
Well,
not
a very fast
stories.
elevator.
Yeah, a fast elevator short building. Yeah. So what was I going to say? Oh, so I was thinking as you were saying that back in the day you said the Greek characters should not be around. So when you created that was probably around the same time I came up with my name or my username, but because I was in high school as well, and back then I guess we used probably the ASCII keys, right? So
yeah.
They didn't yet have all the characters from the foreign languages in there and everything, which if you're teaching a computer science foundations class, hypothetically, you would point this out to them that, the new version doesn't, accounts for all the all the characters in the language and even has emojis in it. So there you go. So
you could always try some alt keys, but they wouldn't necessarily be recognized by a lot of the software.
Oh, I'm sure. What was the first thing that you logged onto? For me, it was a BBS.
So at that point, I think I had a couple of different email addresses that I was using, but also it would have been AOL Instant Messenger was the tool that we were using primarily. This was like 97, I want to say. Okay. Yeah, that for me, it was around 93, 4 or so, because, BBSs were all the rage, and I had never been asked that, what's your username? And so that's why I got the OMJ at the end, because Elroy, they're like, not enough letters. So I did manage to pull a couple of unique ones. I had a chess.com handle that was fairly unique that I held probably as early as like 94. So yeah, around that time period. But it wasn't Kronos, so it's not me. Not really anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that's and then I suppose AIM's long gone. I remember that was around for a lot longer than you would have thought. And maybe it's still around. I don't know. AOL Instant Messenger, AIM, but yeah. Anyhow, we're not here to talk handles. We're here to talk milestones. So, for those of you that did not catch it in the intro, you hit 500,000 on the nose this time. More on that later. Recently, and
oh boy.
And if you would like a better rundown of anything that I could possibly throw at him today, you can visit Kronos's TA page and read all about it on his very well written blog. It is very well written, I must say, and I'm an English minor, and I appreciated it. I appreciate you really paint a good story, and I really like that. So I actually took the time and read through several of your entries there. So definitely wanted to plug that. So,
I do like to talk about myself. A little bit of a narcissist. It might be a little bit obvious from the blogs themselves. The copious volume, the copious numbers of words, the fact that they're all about me. I like to talk about myself.
It's a very niche subject, but you do a good job with talking about yourself. So
for some reason, people are entertained by it and keep coming back for more. So I'm appreciative of that.
I need to subscribe to it. everyone else, subscribe to his blog. Yeah, it's good. It's good literature there. So for those that are less, motivated, perhaps you can just walk us through the big day and how you got to it.
So I've been working on this for quite a while. I'd had a goal to try to hit 500,000 gamer score with 500 completions at the same time. I ended up not being able to do that because I had just too much dross on my tag, and too much time would have been required to get the completions in other games that had few enough gamer score in them. And this really sort of bends the way that we normally play. Like, we want to get as much gamer score as fast as possible. I'm looking to play games that are old, those 200 pointers that I know that you hate, and I did complete a fair number of them. And I had enough that I could have gotten it done, but it would have really severely impacted how I wanted to play and been not fun. And I play mostly for fun, so I want to make sure that even this process, even though I was challenging myself, was still fun. I ended up finishing at 465 completions because I knew I wanted to hit a multiple of 5 for at least to get the double milestone. But I was still 35 short of that 500 goal. And once I was going to finish on a completion, I had to make sure I finished on a completion that was worthwhile, so I wanted to grab a good game for it. And I also wanted the completion achievement to be meaningful, that it had some sort of statement. So those were my criteria going in. And once I decided that picking out the right one was just a matter of going through the lists and saying, yeah, that one's the good fit.
Well, I mean, to me, it was a pretty obvious pick that you went with, but we'll get to that in a second. But I mean, you could have pulled out the old Windows phone, and gone there,
I've never had a Windows phone. As you've probably spent a lot of time looking at my tag over the past 48 hours, you noticed that I don't have a single Windows Phone game on my tag.
I did notice that, and you got 2 Android, 1 web, a couple. I mean, yeah, it's noticeably missing. So, which is surprising to me because I view you as kind of one of the old timers. See, I'm still kind of new to the whole achievement hunting thing, and I mean, I'm still looking at your tag, and you're like hitting stuff like in 2009 and all this other stuff, and I didn't even own an Xbox back then, so I view you kind of as the old timer. So, what happened with the Windows Phone?
I had Android phones for the majority of my phone career. My very first cell phone was the Nokia Brick, right? That thing was indestructible and overheated like anything, but it was a fine phone. When I got my first smartphone, it was an Android, and I stayed on Android for a very long time, so I didn't want to migrate away from it. And the Windows Phone, except for achievements, didn't provide me anything else, and they were much more expensive than the bargain basement Androids I could have purchased, so it was always just a cost thing. By the time I came around to it, say 2015 would have been the time I might have started looking for it. I was like, well, at this point I'm looking for a second-hand Windows Phone, or something just to get achievements as a secondary phone, and it just didn't work out that it ever happened. Too few. There are certainly some games I would have liked that were already even delisted by that point, but also the fact that so many of the good ones were delisted or unavailable for other reasons made it even less likely that I was going to go down that path. And now, with the service being discontinued entirely, it starts to feel like it was probably the right choice.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I started a bunch of games and now I'm just like full of regrets that I'm just like, like,
you're not getting back to those, are you?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just it's so, I don't know. It's like, even when I had it, I was kind of late to the whole thing, but yeah, I don't know. And by the time I got there, it was already in the shutdown mode, and so some of them worked, and I had a phone that was kind of doing it, and then I sat on it, and I put it in my back pocket one day, which I never do. Yeah, I never do that. It was like in the middle of like I don't know, some kind of student assembly, and I forgot it was back there, and then I sat down, and then the next thing I know, it had like, yeah, it was gone, and then I got another one, and by that time it was just, the achievements stopped working. Like, it was almost like an avalanche. It was gaining speed and like nothing. And I don't know. I may go back to it, but for you, I mean, I know you're a card and board kind of guy.
There were a lot of good card and board games on the Windows Phone that I missed out on, and that's a regret. I missed out on them. I would have liked to have had them, and some of them were pretty easy, and others just would have been fun. But those are all not going to happen unless they somehow get ported, but that's not going to happen. A couple of them were also like on Windows 8, and I did find ways to play a couple of them on Windows 8 where they were Windows 8 or Windows Phone, and I got the Windows 8 version of them done.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask because, I was looking and I was like, wow, there's a lot. There's 20 games for card and board on the Windows Phone, believe it or not. 20 whole games.
And, despite missing all of those, I'm still competitive on the leaderboard. So that's maybe going to say something about what I played.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's like literally 5 of them that take less than 3 hours. So, wow. Yeah, so there you go. That's 1,000 points. But no, I think you made the right decision, honestly. But yeah. So anyhow, you're going for the 500. The 500. Yeah, obviously, the one of the 500s didn't work out. So I personally liked your choice. So why don't you enlighten the masses? What was your choice?
So I completed the game Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls for the Xbox 360, which is important because I previously completed it on the One, of course. So the game has forward compatibility. If you play it on the 360, you can import your saves to the Xbox One, but it doesn't go backwards. So I'd already completed it, and that meant that I couldn't just pull it back into the 360. I had to do it all over again. So this was a legitimate stack. And the completion came with the achievement for completing 500 bounties, which is arguably the most grindy of the achievements. It requires doing a certain task over and over again 500 times, obviously. And it's not that bad, but 500 of anything is a lot. So the achievement is called Batting 500. And 500 times doing something, batting 500 in the name, it was a really good lineup, especially for a game that I really do enjoy, even though the 360 version is nowhere near as good at this point. And the series is one of my all-time favorite series. So it made a lot of sense for that to be the one that I picked for 500.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure that the collective gasp by everyone listening that you chose a Diablo achievement.
Crow? Diablo? Nah.
Right. So, and for those of you that were wondering, yes, the achievement does have the little coffee mug next to it, so that's always a bad sign. That's the time consuming one, but the batting 500 and finish up the Diablo, I thought it was cool. It was very fitting to you, so props on that. So that's a good one. I like it. So was there other ones that you had considered?
As soon as I saw that one, I was like, no, this has to be it. I figured that I should be careful and have it back up in case, but ultimately I was like, no, I'm just not going to mess this one up. I'm not going to mess it up again. I can't do that twice, right?
Well, twice you mentioned. So I really love the story. You have to tell the people how maybe in your journey to 500 you knew what not to do, right? So that actually we'll just get to that later. So the batting 500, and do you remember what the last bounty was that you did?
It was actually the Jar of Souls bounty, one of the easiest ones. I was doing a lot in Act 1 for some reason, and I didn't want to change acts because the way I was playing, changing acts often had a 30-second cooldown. I was like, ooh, I don't want to wait 30 seconds. I'll just exit the game and reload it, so it stayed in the same act over and over again, which meant that I got to see the same bounties over and over again. And Jar of Souls was one on the last set, which I opened it up, and I only needed the one more. I was like, which one of these is going to do the fastest? Jar of Souls. Let's go with that one.
Was there any bounties that you you are Mr. Diablo, always will be in my book, so were there any, which bounty was your favorite to complete?
I don't know if I can say I have a favorite bounty. Bounties, especially in the time the last patch that they put on the 360 version, bounties are the gateway material that you use to do rifts. You have to do bounties in order to do rifts, and the rifts are the best place to be. So I would much prefer to have been in rifts, but it's also, there are a couple of achievements for rifts, but they're really easy, all things considered. The bounties, you just got to do them a lot.
So it's just time consuming. It's just kind of...
it's there so that you can't have more fun. It's the thing that you do so you can have fun.
Yeah. I mean, this is... it's got a whole 3.56 ratio, so...
That seems high. The whole thing about
I thought it seemed low.
I mean, time consuming and all, but I'll be honest. As I was going through it, knowing what I needed to do and how it was going to work, I spent more time getting all of my characters up to level 70 than I did on the bounties, because I was able to use the time I was leveling to do almost all the bounties. So I had 499 bounties, the 500th bounty preloaded and ready to go, and I still had a character not yet to 70.
Wow. Yeah, and then there's the one where you have to complete level 70 with 6 different classes. So that one, so you kind of went out of your way. So how did you level them up to 70 without the rifts? Isn't that where you get the real nice, juicy...
The rifts are the best place to level up.
Yeah.
There are no greater rifts in this version. Like I said, the patch hadn't included that yet, so the rifts are the best place to go. The monster density is the best there. But yeah, I used the rift zones I had collected from doing the 500 bounties and tried to do them there. But I ran out of rift stones. I couldn't, so I was like, oh dear. I can't do any more rifts because I'm out of rift stones, which you get from doing the bounties. And I can't do any more bounties because as soon as I do more bounties, I'm going to pop that achievement. And I need to do these other ones first. So I had to play creatively for a while to make sure that I lined up the experience from just random stuff before I could move forward.
So how much extra time did that add to getting the level 70 with
only
6
a couple
different
hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
Hours.
See, I was
really close by that point, and I just I upped the difficulty a little more and pushed through.
Oh, now I find this interesting. The Xbox One version of it is the ratio is a little lower, so it's a 3.08, and so is that because of the rifts, like the inclusion of that? I
suspect that the bigger issues are that the Xbox One version is. Well, first I mentioned the forward compatibility, so that you can pull 500 bounties from the 360 and get some of that credit on the Xbox One. Also, the multiplayer is much more alive, so the idea of split farming for the bounties is much easier to do on the X1. You could still do it on the 360, but finding co-op partners is going to be a lot harder. It's going to be much easier on the Xbox One. And also, the quality of the game continues to advance, and it's getting easier and easier over time. So just doing a lot of content and doing it fast is much easier on the Xbox One. I mentioned that leveling up the characters took me a long time, especially with what I'm used to doing. I'm at the point where if you want me to power level you in Diablo 3 on the Xbox One, no problem. I'll just set aside like half an hour, 45 minutes, and if you've had a level 70 character before, and you have a brand new level 70 character. If you've never had one before, it's going to take me 3 hours. Whereas in this situation on the Xbox 360, because the content hasn't been patched forward and doesn't have that power creep that's been done, it's 10 or 15 hours per character. Much longer.
Yeah, for comparison's sake, there's not much difference in the rating anyway. You said that it was much better done. Well, on the 360 it has a 4.48 ratio or stars, and then on Xbox One it's got 4.54. So that's kind of interesting. I thought it would be more of a jump. But yeah, there's
the same game still. It's just they haven't patched it all the way through. So everyone, for the most part, probably played it early on. The people who are still playing it are people like me who have all the achievements and continue to play it anyway. So we experience the quality of life improvements rather than seeing it as a better and better game necessarily.
I see. So you did mention how if somebody needs, a level 70 character, that you can level them up. I must say that I can vouch for that.
And the offer is open. Anyone in the community who wants it, I'm happy to do it anytime. And don't think like, he won't think about it doing it for me. No, let's just set up a time. I'm happy to do it for anybody, anytime. I love playing the game. It's fun for me to do it. And if you just want extra characters up to level 70, or you want to run through as much of the achievement stuff as fast as you can and not have to worry about it, I'm down for it. I got you covered.
And again, I will verify that. So how many people would you say that you've ran through this, like just that achievement?
About a dozen.
All right. That's, who was the most recent?
Either you or Inigo Montoya were the most recent one. I haven't done any runs recently because I've been so fixated on getting myself to the 500 that I haven't done anything recently, but periodically I'll post in the True Achievement forums and say, hey, anybody who wants, especially the hardcore ones, because people are still interested in that one, set aside 3 hours and I'll get you all the hardcore achievements.
Yeah, they, maybe you should start offering a business, like when we were well, the reason I say that is because we were looking at the Diablo 2, which we'll get to in a second, the resurrected one, and we were looking for some to get the run throughs and all this and that. My team was back in the last contest, and so apparently there's a whole thing where you basically it's like a tour guide and you tip the tour guide kind of a thing. And so it's a whole business. This person does this for money. And I'm just like, my gosh, I just was so, I mean, I didn't mind tipping the guy. I really appreciated it, but it's just kind of, just they're monopolizing, just dragging people like me to this game, which, I mean, I enjoy the game, but man, that really sped things up. So yeah, maybe there's a business out there. You could just corner the Diablo 3 market. See, Diablo 2 is kind of taken, but yeah.
There's a little bit less of a need for it in Diablo 3 because you can self-power yourself through it so much more easily. Diablo 2, you still, especially since it's still a fairly recent release and they haven't power crept it nearly as much, although it looks like they might be doing some of that in the future. But some of the things that they can do, glitching the ancients for you or getting you into hell difficulty with a level 3 character or something makes it a lot easier to do the stuff that a lot of people think are the fun parts of Diablo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, we were using it for just kind of to get where I forget which achievement it is. It's something to do where you have to beat the game with every class at the max or something, or hell difficulty. Yeah, that's it. Beat the hell difficulty with each of the characters, kind of a thing. And now it's really not even really worth that much. So, but yeah,
the game has been out long enough that those are all coming down because everyone's going to do it with one character for the most part. It's not too hard to get a single character through. The repeated things is where, okay, I've played the game once, and there are 5 characters in the base game and 2 in the expansions, so I got to do this 6 more times. Right. I like the game, but that might be a lot. Not for me. I'm down for it, but because I do love the game. But even for someone who is enjoying the game, saying, okay, you've played through the game's content, now go do it 6 more times, is a little bit much. Although, again, this is nothing compared to the big achievements in Diablo 2 Resurrected, which are for getting to be level 99 and getting to be level 99 in hardcore. Those achievements are no joke.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely wanted to. Well, I mean, now is as good of time as ever. So the achievement I was thinking of is I like the heat, and that's for completing the game with each class on hell. So that's the one where you play through, what did you say, 6 times? I guess
7 times total.
7 times. Oh, jeez, it's even worse. So, yeah, 7 times will get you a whopping 12 ratio, basically, 719 TA score for a 60 gamer score achievement. So that was the one we were going after. But I admit, I looked you up on Diablo 2 because I saw, you'd finished Diablo 3, you got the stack, they were both done, and so I was thinking, well, surely he's played Diablo 2 and is like almost done with it. And so I saw your gamer score, you're about half done as far as that's concerned. And I was starting to feel like maybe I was like, is he slipping here? And then I saw it. I saw your progress meter on the the reach level 99 and the reach level 99 with a hardcore character. So the question I have for you is, are you going to be the 4th person to unlock this achievement?
No. I will not be the 4th person to unlock this achievement. I anticipate that I will unlock it eventually. It'd be nice, a cool one to do for a milestone. I think it's pretty unlikely. But I'm hundreds of hours away from that still. Even though I'm, you see, he's got a level 70 plus hardcore character. He can't be that. Right. No. This all of the time is spent on the back end. The grind from 90 to 99 is essentially 100% of the XP grind.
Right. That's, when we were pursuing this for the contest thing, and that's what Dano was talking about. He's very familiar with this game. He's real big in it. Y'all should team up. Yeah, he's really into this.
Yeah, Dano and I have played a few times. He's helped me get some better gear, and we chat about Diablo on a regular basis.
Okay. I was gonna say, if not, I feel like I should play matchmaker here. So that's good. So, but the way he explained it to me, and that I recall, I've slept a few times since then, is that the first 20 or 25 levels is kind of slow going, and then once you hit 25, you just like blast through, and then it like comes so much quicker until you get to
75.
75. Okay, and then the last part is just awful, according to him. So
yeah, under 25, you can be getting XP penalties depending on where you're doing. If you're not getting penalties, you're not getting the most XP. Weirdly, there's some weird calculations going into it. And after 75, all the way up to 99, you have XP penalties all the way.
That's not, yeah. So, I mean, any game where you have this many players on the game, and there's an achievement that has an 88 ratio on it. That's so stupid. So I guess my question is like, when you're playing this, like, so I'm trying to like visualize this. So you're playing this. How do you ensure? Because if you make a mistake, it's over, and then you gotta go back. Yeah. So like,
playing on hardcore? Just to remind everyone what hardcore is in Diablo is it's your single life playthrough. If your character dies, it's permadead, and all of your progress is gone. So if you died at level 92, you have to go back to level 1 and put through the level 1 to level 25 XP penalties and the 75 to 92 XP penalties just to get back to where you started from. And you can die because the enemies are hard, because you made a mistake, because the network crapped out and you were playing online. You can get caught up in a lot of different ways. So it happens.
What is your safeguards? I assume that you play with some kind of safeguards in place where you're like, playing a little safe, where you don't get in those situations. What is the process to make sure that you're not a victim in this?
First of all, it requires that you know the game very well. For Diablo 3, it's not something I have to be concerned about at all anymore. The game is easy enough, and I know it well enough that I'm essentially never going to die. Even on hardcore, even when playing on very hard difficulties. I mean, I could push it to a point where I would die, but I don't play on those difficulties with my hardcore characters. When it comes to Diablo 2, you don't really have as many options. The game is much harder right now, and probably will be for the foreseeable future, and it is balanced in a way where even a well-designed character can die if you get caught in the wrong spot. You try and do everything you can to make sure you have all the powerful stuff, that you're as strong as you possibly can be, that you're playing as safe as necessary. But ultimately, it just comes down to, do you know the characters? Do you know what's dangerous to you? What could hurt you? What isn't going to hurt you? How do you avoid the areas where you could get hurt? And what are you going to do if you run into a bad spot? You don't do something like what I did not too long ago, where I had a fairly high-level hardcore character in my 70s, and I was like, ooh, this area is dangerous. I don't like being here. I'm going to run around the corner where it should be safer. And I ran into another pack of enemies that was even more dangerous, and they slaughtered me. So it happens even to me on Diablo 2. It is a much, much different beast than Diablo 3.
Yeah, that's... So which one of the... see, when I played this game legit just for fun back before I run the whole... run my gaming with achievement hunting. I remember the elemental enemies, the ones with lightning in particular, that were the bane of my existence in this game.
Burning souls are rough.
Oh, which ones are the burning souls?
So they're like little ghosts that pop in and out, and they shoot lightning beams at you, and the lightning beams will do extraordinary amounts of damage. They're partially glitched, where they're supposed to do some damage to your mana and some damage to your health, and instead of doing damage to your mana and your health, sometimes they do damage to your health and then like extra damage to your health.
Oh, that's dreadful. That they need to fix that, man. That's awful. Oh, so yeah. So are you? The progress meter says you're at 71 out of 100, but where are you actually on this? You said.
That was probably the character that died. So I know he was over 70, so 71 makes sense. And I've been rebuilding him, and I'm trying to... I was looking for one of those people that I could tip to help me glitch the ancients on hardcore. No one's glitching ancients on hardcore. So I was like, well, fine, I'll do it myself. So I have 2 hardcore characters, one on my main profile and one on an alt, because I have to get the second one up to the point where I can glitch the ancients for myself on Nightmare. And I haven't finished that process yet, so I have 2 in the 60s to take care of that. But that's where I am with the hardcore stuff.
My goodness, yeah, that's going to be some time. And for those of you that are curious, yes, it does have a coffee mug next to that.
It had better. I don't know if there is a single achievement that is more time consuming. I would have to research this. I can't think of any. That's for sure. I mean, think of the most time consuming achievement that you can, and I bet you this one is at least as long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. Hopefully they leave it as is, as for you poor souls out there that are actually going to ever go for this achievement. Can you rattle off who the 3 individuals are that have the achievement? Do you have it memorized? Have
no,
you gone to
I don't.
them?
The only one that I know for sure, and I'm blanking on his name, but he's big in the community. Does a lot of very high ratio stuff, and I watched him progressing, so I knew he was going to get it first, and I think he did. So I just can't remember the gamer tag at the moment. You put me on the spot, and I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I just was curious, if you, yeah, but that's there's 3 of them now. One is X Rosiero or something.
I don't know him.
There's the X's at both ends, so I don't know. Maybe it's just row 0 or something. But and then the second person to get it was Resident Ell.
Sounds familiar, but I'm not familiar with his work, so I haven't looked at it. I'm not. Again, there was someone else who got it right after the person I was watching, and now I guess because the times have been, maybe they didn't get scanned in quite right. But and then the third one must be the one I'm thinking of.
Yep, the first person to win it was V Sully.
V Sully. Yep, there we go. Sully. I knew. I couldn't remember his gamer tag, but it's Sully and I have had a lot of chats about Diablo. I had a commiseration post when I lost my 70+ hardcore, and he popped in and lamented with me, but also chided me for doing something stupid. It's like, well, yeah, I did something stupid. I know I did.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you and Dano should put a friendly little wager on this and see who gets there first.
Dano's got quite the head start, so I think he gets there first. But who knows? If I gave up the rest of everything that I do for gaming, I might get there first.
I feel like every time I log onto my Xbox, I'll get a the fake achievements, like for people logging on and stuff, but he's looking for a group or something, and it's for that game. It's like every single night. So yeah, you're right. He probably does. But
those of us who love Diablo 2 really love Diablo 2. It's the best game in the series. You look at how many hours I put into Diablo 3, and I still think Diablo 2 is the better game, right? So that's kind of amazing. Yeah.
The V Sully was cutting it close. I just noticed he beat Resident Ell by 5 days. 5 days.
Yeah, he was really working hard at it. He just to say, because Diablo 2 Resurrected is multi-platform, you can play it on your Xbox, or you can play it on PC, and it's linked to your Blizzard account. So he spent most of his time playing on PC, and people really got a little upset with him for that. But you're doing it still on the Blizzard servers, and what he did was he made sure that when he got to like 99.99 and he was close enough, then he comes back and finishes it on the Xbox, so the achievement will pop. Because we don't know if you hit level 98.99. If you hit level 99 on the PC and then log that character into the Xbox, whether the achievement will pop or not.
Wow.
It's entirely possible it won't. And that's an awful lot of time to have wasted.
Yeah, that's not good at all. Yeah, I did not realize that. So you just kind of mentioned it. What's the deal with the PC? Why is that
more precise to play on the PC? The mouse and keyboard allows you to do certain things that you can't do on the console with a controller. The controller is more streamlined, but it's really just if you click a button, it's mimicking a mouse click somewhere, and it's like combining 2 or 3 clicks into one sometimes, but you're still clicking all those things. It's saying click here, then click here, then click here, and doing it as fast as the computer can handle, but you're still doing all those clicks. So if you're just doing it on the PC, you can be a little more precise. And for certain classes and for certain spells, that's really, really important. If you want to run Bone Spear on Necromancer, for example, it's not a great spell to be running on the console. I love being able to play it on the console and on the TV, but if you really want to get these achievements, you're probably doing basically what V-Sully did, which is play mostly on PC because it's just more precise and you're less likely to die from random stuff.
So at what level does your character need to be before you're going to play exclusively on the PC?
Oh, I think at least 75 on the hardcore side. Before then, it's even though I've lost one at 71 and it was really painful, it's not that bad. Losing anything above 75, though, is starting to get painful, so that's when it really starts to become worthwhile.
Did you create a memorial of any kind to the fallen hero?
Well, he's still sitting there in my character inventory, mocking me every time I log in.
With a gravestone? Is that what they... Oh, that's harsh.
I don't know if it's a gravestone anymore, but yeah, he's sitting there, and I scroll down past my characters and like, okay, which is a nice reminder, because I also named my next character sort of after the enemies who killed me, is like, okay, I really need to remember, these guys are dangerous.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. I know you can talk Diablo all day, so...
I can.
Yeah, so I know that you would just like to talk about Diablo. I figured that'd be the milestone itself. So, is there anything else that you specific to the 500K that you said in your blog that you probably would next time you memorate one is 750,000 perhaps?
Yeah, if I do manage to find some way to get a lot of time to play Diablo 2, it'd be kind of cool to do the hardcore completion and complete Diablo 2 at like 666, but I think that's pretty unlikely. So 750 is the most likely one, where I'll go try do something. I kind of have an idea of what I want to plan for a million already, but it's going to depend on whether or not some of the hardware is still working. We've had a couple of these scares with the 360 recently, and that did hit me as I was working on this. It was I lost a week of time, which I was playing Diablo because I couldn't log into my 360.
Oh, man. I didn't realize they were having so much issues. Maybe I need to focus on my 360 games. The
360 hardware still works, but the login authenticators are having issues. So anything that's backwards compatible, you're fine. It's going to keep working for forever, as far as we can tell. But if it's on the 360 and it has to be on the 360, the non-backwards compatible stuff, and you can't get that login, then essentially you can't play. And I was like, well, at least I can play offline. Well, no, I can't even do that because I converted all my saves to cloud saves. And if you can't log in, you can't get your cloud saves.
Oh, that's a bad combo.
So, yeah, I'm working hard on finishing off some old other 360 stuff, which, one of the other completions that I got in this rush up to 465 was a Kinect game. And obviously, most of the Kinect stuff can't be backwards compatible. And this Kinect game had been on my tab for way too long. And it was lingering. I was like, well, okay, I want to do something. I'll just knock something out. And I spent an afternoon on it and actually got the 3 hardest achievements, and I felt so good about that.
What was the Kinect game?
That was Freefall Adventures. No, Freefall Racers. Everything Kinect is Kinect Adventures, right? So it's Freefall Racers. It's this flying squirrel arcade racing style game where you use the Kinect. So it has all of the problems that arcade racers have, which is that if you're in first, they're all targeting you, and the AI cheats, and you don't get the stuff to help you out. And it's all being controlled with the Kinect, which is not always the most precise, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah. I see you got the completion. Congrats on that. Yeah, I see it's not a real game. It's one of those little...
It's 400 gamer score?
400 abomination. Yep.
But it was under it's under 1,000, and it was a good one for me to target. So I had most of the gamer score already, and I could get that completion. So that was on my list, but I didn't target it earlier. And even as I was just getting extra completions, it wasn't my first choice. The one I wanted to do, I couldn't find the disc for it. So I was like, well, I'll just scroll through until I find something I will complete, and that was what popped out.
Yeah. So. We kind of mentioned you're talking about your next one for the 1 million. So we got to circle back to, I thought it was a really cool idea. Tell us about the one that you did miss.
So, not every big milestone has to be big and round. I'd mentioned trying to hit Diablo 2 completion at 666,666. That'd be nice. So it's not a big round number. It's just a number that is meaningful. So another number that is kind of meaningful would be 314,000 and change. I'm on the spot again, so I'm blanking on the next couple of numbers in pi, but 3.14159, there we go, 159, would have been really awesome to have hit. And I wanted to do it with a completion in Winterbottom, PB Winterbottom and his pi collection game. Turns out I horribly miscalculated, and I am not very good at Winterbottom. So neither of those things happened. I still haven't completed Winterbottom, and I blew past 314,000 with my backup. I can't even remember exactly what I was going to use if it was the backup, but nothing worked the way I wanted it to. Everyone has those moments. You're challenging yourself for G-Task. You have to hit a specific gamer score number. Everyone hits the same TA value. Those are really hard weekly challenges that Planting likes to give us. I've done them. I've done plenty of them. And I've messed up plenty of them where we're running through and we're trying to get everyone on the same TA value, and oh no, rounding error, we're off by 1. Everybody go and get another achievement. Or, okay, I have to get this 5G achievement here and not get any other achievement. Oh no, I popped a 10G achievement first. I have to go get 995 more gamer score in some other random game because it has to equal exactly 1,000 here. We've all done this to ourselves. We've made those mistakes. I've definitely done it. So whenever you're doing these, 100,000 on the number type of challenges, you're going to mess one up once in a while. And I messed up 314,159. The blog I have on it is very good because at this point I don't remember exactly what went wrong, but I miscounted something and ended up 5 or 10 gamer score over with where I wanted to be, so that I couldn't hit the next achievement that would have lined it up where I was supposed to be. And I was like, well, I missed that one. And it's useful to have a failure like that, and even to blog about it, because it shows that even when I'm doing these ones that I know and I must hit, a lot of work went into it. And at any point, I could have screwed myself out of it and then, upset for a week or two. This was several years ago now, so I'm not upset about it anymore. But when it happened, I was kind of upset. I was like, how did I do that to myself? How did I miss it? Would have been so much better if I just done this. But if you do it all the time, if you're successful 100% of the time, it's almost too good.
Oh, yeah. That's the old coaching thing that you tell your team when it's terrible, is that they learn more from, losing. Anybody can win, but, it takes character to lose.
I played a lot of pinochle when I was growing up with my father. And one of the things that he would tell me about playing pinochle, because I wasn't playing aggressively enough, is like, if you're not getting busted, then you're not bidding aggressively enough. So, every time you bid, you win, and you didn't lose. You caught enough tricks to win the hand. Good job. You're not losing, but it means you're probably not bidding aggressively enough. You could have won the bid and taken control of more hands and won the overall games more consistently than just each round. And so you do need to lose some to be set back, to get busted, if you want to have the most success in some of these things.
Oh, man. It took me until about, probably about, the second portion of that story for me to realize what you were talking about. When you said pinochle, I was thinking like where you grasp each other's hand and you try to pin down their thumb, and I was thinking, man,
That's thumb wrestling,
it really
right?
was. So if you're listening to it, rewind and listen to it from the perspective of like really getting fired up about pinochle, where you like try to pin the other person's thumb down. It took me a minute. I totally forgot that was a card game. So there you go.
I come by my love of card games, honestly. I played a lot of them growing up.
Yeah. Oh man, it was kind of funny from my point of view. But yes, I think there's a wealth of platitudes that can go along with this, including you can't hit the ball with a bat on your shoulder.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Platitudes galore in this realm. So, I was thinking, since you did screw that one up, you can look into the horizon with all these wonderful, baby games being produced on a, almost hourly basis at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I could get to 1 million real fast if I really wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have plenty at your disposal. So I was thinking maybe you could table the Pi achievement and go for it at 3.141592 million.
Yeah, I think Red did that recently, right? Yeah, he crushed it. And I don't remember what the achievement he used for it, but it was a good one. So, I mean, I'm definitely not the only one with this idea. And some people have had more success with it. So props to Red for doing that one.
Nice. Okay, there you go. I didn't realize that they had been done. See, I thought you could have blazed a trail. So I do have another wonderful one for you. I didn't come unprepared. I got you a second fun milestone here. Are you ready for it?
Let's go.
All right. So the 1 million, and then you follow it up with another milestone at 1,011,000 or 1,111,000. All right.
So just a whole bunch of ones. All right.
All right, you notice there's ones and zeros there, yeah?
Oh, spell it out in binary.
Binary. It's binary for X. So
nice.
Yeah, so you could use, and I was thinking maybe you could use like a Chivo in a stack, and so then you could use 1,011,000 for whatever the version is on the Xbone for the big X, and then the little X you could use 1,111,000 because that's the small X. See, the Xbox 360.
That's a pretty clever idea. And there's if there was a stack in the game, there's a game where all the achievements are just Roman numerals. It's 1 or I, then 2, 2 I's.
Oh, what game was
so this
that?
achievement, the 10th achievement is the Roman numeral X, 10X. So that would have been like the perfect achievement to have lined that up with if I could pull it off. But I've already completed that game. So some other game is going to have to give me that achievement list, is what I'm saying, or stack it up.
Yeah, somebody's going to have some developer is going to have another love for Roman numerals, and I'm sure that it'll happen again at some point. You see several of the achievements that are just alphabets now. Like what is that? Ord, I think it is. Ord for Radaleka, and then and then non-guns kind of did it to some degree. Yeah,
I'd definitely be more interested in Ord. That's the choose your own adventure kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Non-guns shooter much. Nah.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. It's a GTAS game. You only play. Yeah, you only play it for that basically. But it's so anyway. So that's some ideas. So I look forward to our next sit down for a milestone for the binary X. Yeah. So
it's gonna be a little while. I'm not gonna rush to it.
Exactly. Yeah. So probably the stack wouldn't happen anyway because probably the 360 would be dead by then, right? One would think.
Well, as long as it's on the backwards compatible, I should be good to go, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. The way
Maybe
things are
not.
moving
Maybe
fast.
not.
Yeah.
You're right. There's no way to know for sure.
I mean, it took you, see, how long you been gaming for?
So I've been playing on Xbox since about 2007. I got my own Xbox and my own Xbox account in 2008. It was actually a wedding gift to me from a friend of mine. So I got the Xbox 360 as a wedding gift in December of 2007. And so 2008 was when I really started taking off. And then from 2008 until 2011, 2012, I was playing a little bit, very, very lightly, especially by our standards these days. And then 2012, Diablo 3 comes out. And I was nowhere to be found on my console for a good 9-10 months. I call it my Diablo coma.
That makes sense, yeah. So, what, I guess almost 15 years. So, do you think you'll be still doing this in 2037?
Wow. Am I going to still be alive in 2037? That's another question. It happens. People
there's no
pass away
guarantees.
for all kinds of reasons, and we don't have the control over it all the time. So I hope I'm still alive, and I hope I'm still gaming. Whether I'm still gaming on Xbox or not, it's going to depend a little bit on Microsoft. I have no intention of leaving. They've got me to buy into the ecosystem, and I've got the community, which has got me feeling really good about things here. So I don't think I'm going anywhere, but you never know. Maybe the next Diablo comes along and it only is on PC or, God help us, on PlayStation, and then I'm off there.
There you go.
Although with Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard, in theory, the actual concept of Diablo is not going to go anywhere. But something like Diablo, perhaps.
Yeah, that would be pretty insane. Yeah, they buy Blizzard and then they do an exclusive for PlayStation. That would be, I don't know, sure that's a good return on investment, but you never know.
No, that's probably not going to happen. Instead, what we're going to see is that Diablo 4 is a Microsoft Studios game. What the hell?
Who knew? So, yeah, so what's next for you? So we were talking 15 years. Hopefully you got some more things a little more in the near future. So I did notice that you mentioned Carrot. So is that, maybe explain that. Is that something you're going to pursue?
Okay, so the Carrots is a concept. We love our stats, right? So we have gamer score, one stat. True achievement, which is the ratio multiplied by the gamer score. It's another thing. We like our completions, our completion percentage. Carrots is another way of looking at completion percentage, basically. It's your completed as a ratio of titles started. So that means how many games have you started and how many games have you completed, and then just do a simple ratio of those. And it's different than your completion percentage because your completion percentage is always going to be skewed by games you have not completed but you've gotten most of the achievements in, or games that have a lot of achievements. Those can both skew your gamer completion percentage that TA tracks, which is based on your achievements, much more than the games completed. So I want to complete a very high percentage of the games that I start. Like, I think of myself as a completionist, even though I'm clearly not. I want to complete the games that I start. So I want to complete all the ones that I've started, or most of them, or a bigger percentage of them. So I keep pushing for that. And so, yeah, I'm going to work on completing games, but I also want to play the games that I'm buying. For the past year or so, I haven't played many new games because it's very hard to mitigate your gamer score and complete games that are worth less than 1,000 gamer score when every new game is coming out is worth 1,000 gamer score or more, and also play new games. So I've got a bit of a backlog of games I've purchased in the past year, intending to play and haven't played yet. So I'm going to have something like a bean dive, but I'm going to focus on, instead of diving them all, just playing them one or two at a time and getting through them the way that I want to get through the games. And I'll complete most of them, but there'll be a few I probably won't complete. But as long as I'm moving up on that and getting the percentages up, I'll be happy.
So, yeah, I can vouch for that because, I mean, I play junk games. That's kind of my thing. I just like crap games, and I have like almost a 78% on my completion, and that's with a lot of games added to my tag during certain contests, and so yeah, it's definitely skewed, no doubt about that. But I was looking at your stats, and so if you're going for these completions, I guess the first question I have, this is kind of see how well you know your tag here. So, do you know what your first completion was?
Oh, here we go. It's quiz time. Okay.
No, this is just a warm up.
My first completion. I don't think this is right. It's going to be Lego Indiana Jones, the first one.
That actually is correct. Congratulations, man. So, okay. See, I knew you were going to be a tough one on these, because you're very in tune with your tag because you keep blogs and that whole self-involved thing that we were talking about. So,
yeah, I'm definitely a narcissist.
So yeah, you can play that on May 10th, 2009. So there you go. Now, again, this is not the official quiz. This is just we're just talking here. So
okay,
yeah. So
warm me up.
Yeah. So I'm curious if you know what is your longest outstanding incompletion. Where you well, let me say that's kind of misleading. So
yeah, okay.
Which game did you pop an achievement in, never go back, and have not since popped another achievement?
Okay.
Yeah.
Might be Greed Corp.
Ooh, that was tough. That was actually your first under those parameters that you had not marked done with. So what's your criteria for done with? Just I never want to see this game
I think it was
again?
just so it didn't get picked up in some contest thing. There was something that was the contests were filtering based on that status, and I was like, I don't want this showing up in my contest, so I pulled it out. Now that we have the not for contest, I could pull that off, and because I still have access to that game, and I bought it years and years ago.
Oh,
and a friend of mine has completed it, and that we were talking about completing it around the same time, and he pushed through and did it, and I was like, I'm not having as much fun with this as I think I ought to be having. It's the kind of game I'm supposed to really enjoy, but it just didn't grip me. But I do want to go back to it and complete it, so maybe that'll be something that happens in the next 500,000.
Yeah, I saw that one and I was like, oh, well, that's the first one you didn't mark like that. But yeah, that was pretty far back. That was actually the fourth one on your tag, so I'm impressed that you remembered that one.
So the other one would be Outpost Colloqui X.
That is the number one. Yeah, absolutely. You have 1 out of 12 achievements on that. It's not a real game. It's only got 200.
Very recent games with gold.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay. Well, you have no excuse now.
If the ratios are only going to go up.
Yeah. I mean, you got the Friend of Wally. I was looking at that, was like such a pleasant looking achievement art on that one. I like good achievement art, and I was looking at that game and I was like, I almost wanted to play it just because of that achievement, because he looks so friendly, Wally.
It's a fun game. I do recommend it. It has some challenging achievements. Not only are they deeper than and obviously it's a 200-pointer, so you're not going to go back to it, right?
No,
but
I'm really not. No.
As a management game, there's a lot to like about it, but it is one of the more challenging management games that I've played because it's a real-time simulation management, so you don't really get a lot of breathing room.
Yeah. Plus 10 hours, 200 gamer score. Yeah.
Only 10 hours. That feels fast to me. Maybe there's some people who found better ways to do it or more consistently do it. I need to get on that then.
The walkthrough says 6 to 12, and then the completion estimate's 8 to 10. So I don't know.
That's still in my wheelhouse. I was concerned to be like 20 to 30.
Yeah. You can go back and say hi to Wally. I mean, you build him a habitat. And,
I haven't seen Wally. I honestly don't think I've played that game since the time I earned that achievement. So I haven't seen Wally for 15 years.
Yeah. Y'all should be acquainted. Talk about, your milestone and all that good stuff. But
hey, Wally. Yeah. He's like, dude, your gamer score. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, last time I saw you, man. Yeah.
No wonder I haven't seen you.
Oh man, but yeah, okay. So what about? And then there was another fake game in there which you did a little better on. You got 4 out of 12. It was M plus.
Oh well, that was just hard. I have played that a few times since then, but I haven't earned any more achievements.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and then your first real game, you put up quite a performance there. You got 1 out of the 41 achievements in it before you marked it done with and moved on.
Wow.
Yeah, so
this is a real game, so it's 1,000 gamer score.
Yep.
And I marked it done with. I'm gonna say it's Rock Band 2.
I think you had that one marked as cannot access. Maybe
that's fair because I can't. So I have a couple of games on my gamer tag from a bachelor party that I went to, and I didn't even necessarily play these games. Like I logged into the 360. And then somebody was playing, and I popped an achievement, and probably Rock Band 2, Gears of War, and Gears of War 2 that weekend, and misery. I don't want to play Gears of War.
Well, all right. So this one's an action RPG, role-playing hack and slash. So
all right.
you probably thought maybe it has something in
Rise of
common.
Argonauts, huh?
No, I was going to give you crap about that though, because I did see that mentioned in the blog. You just wanted to hear the fish song, didn't you?
The fish song. Oh, I have. Now I remember what you're talking about. I haven't played enough of the game to hear the fish song. I only know about it because you spoke about it. I loved the demo for Rise of Argonauts. I started as like, this game is great, but I started as part of a beam dive, and I just haven't gone back. And yeah, I really need to sit down and before the 360 dies, play that game, because for whatever reason, I was enjoying it, and I need to do that. And it never has been my priority, so I need to make it a priority, right?
Yeah, for sure. That for me, it was when I got to the arena and I had to guard some dude, and that guy, like, he just keeps running towards, like, he's a magnet for their swords, and they just keep obliging and sticking it through him, and you see him die over and over again. I don't know. I must be playing it wrong, because I can't get through that part, and it was really frustrating, so I just stopped, because you have to, like, replay up into that point, and yeah. But the fish song was great. Yeah, the fish song was definitely the highlight. But no, this one
action RPG, hack and slash, and I have one achievement.
You have one whole achievement. Let's see. Let me tell you what you.
It's Conan.
No, it's not Conan. That's the name of the character in it. I don't know that it is or it's not. I suspect that it's not.
No, but the game is called Conan, so I guess that's not. I'm really stumped. You've stumped me. This is incredible.
Let's see. It's a Square Enix game.
Is it Final Fantasy 13-2?
It is not. The achievement that you popped was called the Book of Legend, which I'm sure you don't remember.
No, not at all.
It was obtained for, I'm going to butcher this word, I'm not sure how you say it, Grimoire.
Nier.
That's it. All right.
Okay, so we got there in the end. So it's interesting you were talking about the fish song a minute ago, because I was playing Nier, and I was like, well, this is kind of good. I kind of like it. And I got to some point where you have a fishing minigame and you have to complete it in order to progress with the story, because they want you to do it as a side quest thing later on. And for whatever reason, I just couldn't get the mechanics of this fishing minigame. And I was like, that's it, I'm out. And I've not been back to the game since.
That was your magnetic sword in the arena incident there. Yeah,
and it was pretty early into the game. But the Nier series is well regarded. People love it. I did enjoy the gameplay I was experiencing until the fishing game.
You were enjoying the gameplay of this. Tell me more of that.
So it is an hack and slash, but it's a little bit more forgiving of a hack and slash than something like Devil May Cry is possibly a fairly good analogy, but way, way slower paced and easier and more forgiving on you. And it's got the RPG elements. You got the spells, and the world feel was good. I did like what I was getting into, but
wow, that's kind of shocking, because it has like almost a 4-star rating.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, and that's probably why you rated it 2 stars.
Yeah, the stupid minigame that is necessary. Don't make your minigames necessary. That's what. That's a hate rating. When I go back and actually play more, I'll probably have to raise that rating.
You totally burned that bridge there. Yeah, I mean, somebody that was less inclined might think that you hated this game.
I definitely hated that moment.
You popped one achievement 12 years ago, haven't been back, and gave it a 2 rating. Yeah, there you go. So, all right, that wasn't the quiz. I just was.
So you stumped me anyway. So good job.
Well, now that you mention it, now that we've been talking for a while, I suppose I know that you're kind of long-winded, and I tend to be long-winded as well. So, probably should wrap this up. So I got to end it with a quiz. So for those that are unaware, I always like to end it with kind of a how well do you know your gamer tag. So I went with a theme here. So. You'll probably be able to identify the theme pretty quickly. So basically, I'm going to give you an achievement and the name of it, and you just got to tell me what game it's from.
I'll do my best.
And if you need a hint, I will read the description for the name. But I have a feeling once I give you the description, you'll get most of these if you don't get from the title. Some of them
especially if you're
easy.
Pulling from the theme. I should be able to get to it from some context clues.
Oh,
but we'll see.
Okay. Here's your first one. 5 lashes be owed.
So that feels like a Davy Jones quote, which means it's going to be Lego Pirates.
Yep, see? Hey, we got you. You got it for as Jimmy Legs, whipping Will Turner 5 times. So Fantastic. All right. See, I'll warm you up. Gonna get you, get your confidence up. How about here's another easy one. Around the world on 5 trampolines.
Oh, that's Goat Simulator?
Yep. So there you go. You got to bounce on there. So
that achievement was challenging. There's a really good solution for it, but even then, I tried it multiple times. I've stacked that achievement, and the second time was much easier. But the first time, I spent probably a good 40 minutes on that.
Yeah,
it's not that hard. The ratio is one of the higher ones I get in the game, but it's not nearly as high as like Flappy Goat. I had an easier time with Flappy Goat than I did with that.
Yeah, really, I do find that startling. That Flappy Goat, man, that still hasn't happened for me on 3 different console or 3 different stack. So yeah, I can't do Flappy Goat, but
Flappy Goat is challenging, but it's mostly just you try enough and it works out. You got to give enough attempts. The thing about the trampoline is I think it's basically the same. You get enough attempts and you're going to succeed, but the margin for error is larger, so you need fewer attempts, and the number of attempts seems to be the thing that bothers people the most. For me, it's the amount of time, and I spent more time lining up the shot for the trampolines than I did pressing whatever button was to reset for a Flappy Goat and take another shot, right? If I have to spend a lot of time setting things up, it doesn't feel good.
Well, for me, for anybody that's going for this achievement, I would throw in, I don't know that may say this in the solutions or whatever. I don't even know if there's solutions out there. It didn't say it in the walkthrough, that's for sure. But what took me so long for it was that I didn't realize you could only hit each trampoline once.
Oh, no. Yeah, and you can't do the same one over and again or bounce back and forth. You got to go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5.
Yeah, so that I wondered why it said jump off of this really tall thing to land on it. And I was like, well, I'll just sit here and bounce until I get enough height, and then I'll just keep going. No, that's what the problem was. And so I was like I'd hit it, and I was like, why didn't it pop? And then I thought, anyway, so you got to do it. 5 jumps. That's it. 1 bounce each. So, yeah. That's where it went wrong for me. All right, so here you go. Speaking of stacks, 5 for 5.
5 for 5?
5 for 5. It's a stack.
Oh. I don't do a lot of stacking, so it limits it quite a bit. But if it's 5 for 5 and I earned it twice, and I still don't remember it. No, I think I'm going to need the description on this one.
All right. I think the description's definitely going to help you out. You get it for high-fived all the Fab Five.
Oh, okay. That makes much more sense. That's not really a stack because one requires the Connect and the other doesn't, but it is Disneyland Adventures.
There you go. Okay. I'd always viewed it as a stack, but I see.
I can see why you think it's a stack, and that's fair. I also the fact that it plays on PC and on the Xbox One versus the 360. That's another one that as a 360 Connect title, I need to go back to and try and clean up. But that is a challenging game on the Connect, so I don't know if I'll ever get to completion, but I'd like to.
I own it, and I haven't touched it, so yeah. I understand.
I think playing only the Xbox One version is the better choice for most people.
All right. Well, here's another stack. This one's a legit stack, I think, unless it's not. 5 creature discount.
Okay. Yeah, that's familiar. Why am I not remembering the game though? See, I don't want to take up a whole lot of time, so go ahead and give me the description. I feel like I know this though.
Okay. Cast a spell without paying any mana for it.
Okay, yeah. So that's Duels of the Planeswalkers. It's going to be 2015?
Yep, Magic.
Because it's the only one that has a stack.
Duel of some crap. Yep. All right. Here you go. Where is super unique enemy Xpovos located? Is it the Cold Plains, the Spider Forest, the Dry Hills, or the River of Flames?
Cold Plains.
Okay. Let's see here.
Do you know that he's named about Xpovos is it's like a forum name for a forum moderator from way back when.
I did not know that.
All of these super unique names are often playing back to developers or playtesters or community members of some sort. So they did that a lot in Diablo 3 as well, but it was even there in Diablo 2.
I mean, obviously I know, but what happens to be the secret level in Diablo 3? What is its name?
Well, both Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 have had a cowl level. Diablo 3's cowl level is kind of non-existent right now. You can still get to variations of the cowl level. You can also get to Whimsy Shire and Whimsy Dale in Diablo 3. So for Diablo 3, you have a couple more options. You can use now Zoltan Kuhl's cubing on the Bovine Bardiche to still get to a cow level, but that's the only place the cow level still exists in Diablo 3, as far as I'm aware. You can't get to the main cow level, but you can still get to Whimsy Dale and Whimsy Shire either through a couple of recipes or through normal Rift play. If you just play extra content, sometimes you'll find yourself in like Rainbow Unicorn Land, and it's very, very confusing.
5 minutes later.
Is that an achievement name or talking about Diablo?
No, that's an achievement name.
I'm going to need a description on that one.
Okay. Allowed Guybrush to die.
Oh, so you die of asphyxiation at the bottom of the ocean because you just walk away from the controller. That is going to be Return to Monkey Island.
Yep, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. For some reason, that's the first one I went to after. I don't know, that's kind of weird there. So how many quests in Act 4 does Archangel Tyrael give you?
He wants you to put Iswal to rest. And this, we're talking Diablo 2.
Yes.
So he wants you to put Iswal to rest. And he does not give you the Soul Stone quest, but he does want you to go kill Diablo, I think. And Deckard Cain gives you the Soul Stone, so he gives you 2 of the 3 quests.
Yep, 2. Nailed it. Okay. Number 5 is alive.
Is that Disney Universe?
Mm-mm. I think it's a reference to Johnny 5, which is why I include it.
That's a good one then. Let's go ahead and give me the description because I'm clearly barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, this one's not going to help you. Reach level 5.
Ooh.
It's an RPG apparently that you might play on the weekend.
Okay, thank you. Saturday morning RPG.
There you go. All right, fantastic. All right, let's go with 500 Little Pricks.
Oh. It sounds so familiar, and I'm not placing it at all. I have a picture in my head, and I'm pretty sure it's wrong. So, give me a description, please.
All right, I love the description because it's just so bad in English. Shooted 500 spines in Shack 2's mode. Okay, that sounds like a rat game that I don't remember at all. Okay. Well, I figured that would have told you what it was, given it's in Shack 2's mode.
Shack 2's?
Shack 2's mode.
Shack 2's.
Yeah.
Okay, that must mean that it's Shaq Fu, so it means it's not a rat.
Yes, it's not a rat, yeah. It was old Shaq himself who shooted 500 spines, so...
I can barely remember playing that game.
Yeah, it's a beat 'em up, so that's one of my... I like that game.
Flew
it's actually
through
really fun, yeah.
It's pretty good. It was much better than the original Shaq Fu, let's put it that way.
All right. So this one has a clue on the front end, which is holds a special place in my heart. 500 total kills. It's a beat 'em up.
Castle Crashers was not something that counted kills. They had the storyline achievements, so another beat 'em up with 500 kills.
This one, I don't think it's rated 5 stars on TA, but it's pretty close.
No, is this going to be an Iron Snout thing?
Yes, it is Iron Snout. You kill 500 wolves. See, you know your tag. All right, let's go.
I also know my interviewer.
All right, let's see. I got I think 2 more for you here. With a bonus question. Let's just hit the bonus question. Does the female wizard character have a ponytail in Diablo 3?
Oh, I don't think she does.
Are you sure?
Nope, I'm not sure at all. They wear hats a lot. They are very fond of their hats, as the tooltips remind us. So I don't see her head very often. So I'm guessing she does have a ponytail. I know that the male wizard character has long flowing hair. And may also have
I thought you were going to say a man bun. That would have been perfect.
He might well have the man bun. I mean, but again, he wears a hat most of the time, so I don't get to see it.
Yep. The female wizard does have a ponytail, apparently, according to sources. Yes. So, all right. And then let's see. 3 more. Let's see. I would walk 500 miles.
And then I would walk 500 more. And that, I know, I probably used it for something fun because it's a pretty good achievement. But is it... I think this is like... I want to say it's Manual Samuel, but I don't think that's right. So...
Oh, that's a good guess, though. No, it's because walking would be a chore. So yeah, you get it for visiting the Ice Kingdom, the Desert Kingdom, and the Forest Kingdom.
Ooh,
I know.
Wow, I'm drawing a complete blank. Desert Kingdom, Ice Kingdom, and Forest. Oh, I'm with you now. Okay, I got it. It's Kingdom of Keflings. It's World for Keflings, though, right?
World Keflings, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I never played. I don't know what that is, but yeah, that is it. And then let's see, Act 5 in Diablo 2 is added with the expansion pack, as you will know, in the city of Harrogath. I don't know. Harrogath. How many people can you talk to when you first arrive? Is it 3, 5, 8, 10?
Okay, when you first arrive. Anya still hasn't been rescued, but Neelathak is there. Mm-hmm. You can speak to Mala. You can speak to the captain of the guard, whose name's escaping me. You can speak to the armorer. You can speak to Deckard Cain. There's also one merchant. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it can go down to as few as 5 because there's a period of time when Neelathak disappears and Mala hasn't been rescued. Anya hasn't been rescued yet, and you can't gamble. So I'm going to say 6.
Okay. Well, the choices were 3, 5, 8, 10.
Oh. Well, let's go with 8 because there's probably 2 more merchants that I forgot.
Oh, come on. Did you not see the theme?
Nope.
Oh, we were looking for 5. 5. Yes.
It can go down to 5, like I said. So.
Yeah, you were right the first time. So, and then lastly, 500,000 air.
Oh,
which you now are.
Yeah. So that was a ACA game, right?
It is not actually. It sounds like something like score 500. No, it's
500. No. That's probably not it. The one that came to mind, I'm going to guess this one. I don't think it's right, but because it's the only thing that I've got working on, I'm going to say it was the Toy Story Connect enabled game.
That's a good guess.
Toy Story Mania.
That's a good guess. I know why you did that because you have to earn all the stuff. But yeah, that's what the description is earn 500,000 lifetime.
Oh. And Cleverman Experiment.
Mm-hmm.
No?
It is not. Nope.
All right. Then I'm going to say on the end here that you've stumped me because I cannot remember it off the top of my head right now. I'm sure if I spent a little bit of time thinking about it, I could come up with a good guess, the right guess maybe, but I don't want to waste everyone's time.
Are you sure? Because it sounds to me like you don't know jack about this.
Oh,
question.
You've got to be kidding me. I was just working on that one too. Oh, man. I was helping Prue out with that, so I played that fairly recently. It's still a fun game just to play.
Yeah, that's a 360, isn't it?
That's the 360 version.
Yeah.
Not all of the Jackbox Party Pack stuff. I mean, the hardest part about that is that the DLC has all been delisted. So if you want the completion, you have to really work for it or know someone who owns the DLC, basically.
Awesome. All right.
Well, that was a good collection. No Jack was one of the ones that was very early on in my 360 career, so that was a good one to harken back to at the end there. I should have been able to get that one.
Awesome. I like it. Yeah. So anyhow, I feel like we've been talking for 3 hours because
I imagine everyone else does too.
Yeah, it's dangerous getting you and I together. So is there anything you'd like to plug before you go?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on. I do like to talk about myself, my tag, my achievements, these fun games that I've spent way too long playing, and unfun games that I've played even longer playing because I'd like to play stupid stuff before the fun stuff, apparently. And I wanted to have this chance to chat about it. And I really appreciate you taking the time to walk me through the tag from someone else's perspective, because I know what my tag looks like to me, but not necessarily to someone else. And it's good to get that outside perspective to your narcissism.
Fantastic. All right. And then for everyone else, if you've made it this far, then you might be interested in doing a future milestone. Just, I don't know, contact me if you got something that's, of value to you. It doesn't have to be the highest gamer score I've ever interviewed for this. I mean, which, in case you're wondering, that would have probably been, I guess that would have been Sangrias with his 2 million. But we do number 1 in states, number of completions, all that stuff. So anything that's unique, I like. So anyhow, so thanks again, Kronos. I guess maybe we'll talk again before 3 more years transpire.
That'd be nice.
All right, man. Thanks again. So everyone take care.
Bye.
Hello, I'm Wakapeil, who would like more dedicated gaming time than the 3-ish hours I have on Friday evenings. These days I rarely get more than a dozen uninterrupted minutes of gaming, which does not exactly allow me to immerse myself in a game. I still make an effort in the Better Completions Matter contest, but I find it very difficult to be competitive this year as so much score is derived from the time estimate. Luckily for me, I found a free-to-play game with a time estimate above 1000 hours, which can pretty much play itself most of the time while I am busy with other stuff. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is a Dungeons & Dragons themed clicker game, labeled Management and Strategy by True Achievements. In the game, you recruit a gang of champions who wanders through generic fantasy locations, killing everything in their path until they've met a set target, often related to murdering X number of creatures or loot Y number of brains or whatever from their corpses. There's an underlying narrative, but I found it completely unengaging, so I didn't pay much attention to it. As I wasn't even looking at the screen most of the time, I disabled the generously labeled cinematics between levels, which is just some light banter in text boxes. The champions' killing sprees are very lucrative. At the beginning of the game, your gang might not earn that much gold, but it quickly ramps up and sooner or later you'll be dealing with millions of gold, then billions, trillions, and other ludicrously high numbers. Based on an existing IP, Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms has tons of champions who you try to optimize into the most destructive gang of killers possible, eventually. At the beginning, you only have a dozen champions to choose from, and you can either pay huge sums of real money for new champions, or unlock them through playing the game, most likely through time-limited events or giveaways. One day, when I booted up the game, I was gifted a pack of stuff normally priced above $50, giving me champions, equipment and other power-ups, which made my progression several times faster than it was before. I never paid a cent, and ended up with more than 20 champions before hitting the point where all I had left was a mindless grind. Achievement-wise, that is. I still barely scratched the surface of all the campaigns, modes and additional game mechanics I could engage with, but as they did not offer achievements and was not as fast as replaying the first campaign over and over, I did not bother with them. When I started Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, I got a bit worried as you really couldn't idle the game to progress. I constantly had to manage my party and tap or preferably hold B to deal damage. There's an achievement for manually attacking an enemy 250,000 times, which takes a while, but you don't have to do it yourself as you can assign a familiar to manually attack enemies. Unless you buy a familiar for real money, it will take a while before you can afford one, but they are the key to idle the game, as you can assign them tasks like attacking enemies, triggering ultimate attacks, and leveling up your heroes or click damage. If you can get 6 familiars, you can use them to shoot down 1000 crows as well, otherwise you will have to do it yourself when you see them show up on screen. The game's most time-consuming achievement will be for playing 250 free play runs. I don't think the game tells you that in order for it to count, you have to complete 50 levels before ending your run. So you can't just start a free play run and immediately reset it. I'm currently spending a minute every 20 minutes or so when I'm able to reset and set up my party in order for it to idle to level 51 again, so I can reset it again over and over. I've been told you can use Modron automation to automatically reset the run at level 51, but in my case I do not have the prerequisite champions unlocked and would have to wait a few weeks or months in order to unlock the champions I need or purchase them for real money. You can also have 2 parties going at once, which might make free play runs twice as fast, but once again I never had enough champions for it. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms has an in-game achievement system called Milestones, which has greatly expanded since its Xbox release in August of 2019. The developers have not entirely ruled out new Xbox achievements, but they are reluctant to add them as they appear to have a hard enough time to maintain their current Xbox achievements. None are unobtainable, but they can be a tad glitchy and unlock later than you would expect. The game has Xbox achievement tracking, but it does not update very frequently. Playing Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms as intended, that is, making significant progress each run, will take you thousands of hours to complete its achievement list. But if you strictly optimize your playstyle for achievements and don't mind paying for some expensive microtransactions, it can be done in less than 200 hours, of which the player actively won't do much most of the time. The game also generates gold and progress through levels while you are offline. Sadly, it is way slower than when the game is turned on, even if you don't actually play it. There is one achievement for unlocking 9 event champions. Events run for 2 weeks every 3rd week, meaning with 3 unlockable champions per event, you will need to play for at least 7 weeks to get enough event champions, unless you buy them from the store using real money or are gifted the champions. The developers gives out codes on a daily basis, which usually gives you a decent treasure chest, but sometimes champions and potions. I spent a few minutes each day inputting codes while my party fought away through levels, which netted me quite a bit of useful stuff. There's one luck-based achievement for opening a chest with a shiny item. Shiny items has a drop rate of 1 in every 1000 standard chests, or you can buy a guaranteed shiny for $10. Fortunately for me, I was gifted one in a giveaway and another through codes, as I never pulled a shiny from a standard chest. I find the real money store prices insane. I was probably given thousands of dollars worth of stuff through codes and giveaways while playing for less than 2 months, going by their store prices. The package deals are bizarre, claiming the advertised package for $10 is worth $2,000, or the $55 package contain $14,000 worth of stuff. Thankfully, I did not have to engage with that nonsense and only discovered their horrible pricing while doing research for this segment. The only thing I would recommend purchasing is the $5 familiar bundle, as familiars are very useful and remain useful throughout the game, as you do not replace them, you just add more. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms has 34 achievements worth 1000 game score and 2500 TA, with a time estimate of more than 1000 hours, but can be completed in less than 200 hours if you mainline the achievements instead of exploring the content. As absurd as it sounds, I enjoyed this licensed free-to-play games as a service clicker. I had actively avoided it for years as I thought it would be too much of a time sink, but it turns out it wasn't, as I could do other things while the game played itself once I had gotten a few familiars. Have a nice day everyone,